Let's ignore the fact that tumors assemble. Kevin AC brings up a good point. Why don't the Padres wear their brown uniforms more? Fucking looks way better than the pajama ones. I like it as a good alternate. I don't like it every day. Let the Browns be the everyday uniforms. I guess most of the starting pitchers like the other ones anyway. The only time they bust out the Browns, you could tell it's like when they're like really going like, all right, we got to flip something here.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County,
go, Frank.
No one
Bring
knows
some energy
America's
today.
finest
Bright
city
and early.
like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Good morning, good morning, good morning to all of you out there driving around America's finest city, getting ready to get to work, getting ready to get all your work done before the 4th of July holiday coming up this weekend. I'm filling in for Bennett Woods all this week. The boys are out in Philly, having a great time in Philly, probably. They left last night. I think they took the red eye last night. I already saw Ben Higgins was out touring around and doing his thing in Philadelphia, in which he tweeted out that I'd be filling in for them this morning, tomorrow morning, the next morning, and the morning after that on this 4th of July week. Should be a fun time. And man, is it early. Let me tell you. Not many times where I get up this early. Now, during the summertime, it's a lot easier for me. In coaching high school football, we do practice at 6 in the morning doing workouts. So I have been up the last couple of weeks at 6 a.m. at Cathedral. But now I'm going to be with all of you guys for the next couple of days. And we are going to be talking Padres baseball. We're going to be diving into a lot of different things in the sports world here on the Braden Surprenant Show, filling in for Bennett Woods. If you haven't or done so already, you can listen to me in my time slot, which is 10 to 2. We are usually on at 10 in the morning to 2 p.m., and we are on after Bennett Woods and before Gwen and Chris every single day. If you haven't done so already, you can follow us on social media at B_SURP, at BSURP. You can follow Frank Marchese, our producer, at FMARKZ324, at FMarks324 on social media. And be sure to follow the show at B_SURP show, at BSURP show on social media as well. You can watch all of our videos and our YouTube on our YouTube page at B_SURP, as well as the 97 Through the Fan YouTube page. Got that out of the way. Again, the boys are in Philly. I don't know how many cheesesteaks that they have downed already. I don't know if they could break the cheesesteak record. We'll ask them about it maybe next week. When they come back, they should have a fun time. In the meantime, I'll be holding it down and facing all the doomers, apparently, as we start this Monday morning. We'll start the Monday morning with some positivity here. Padres lost 2 out of 3. Not positive. Had a good showing on Saturday, which was great to see. And I'll talk more about, the games over the weekend and what Mike Shildt said and everything like that. But overall, as we talked about on Friday, because Friday marked the end of the first half. At the conclusion of Friday night's game, where Nick Martinez shoved against the San Diego Padres, that was the first half of the season. We're now officially in the second half of the season before we get to the ceremonial first half at the All-Star break in a couple of weeks. How do I evaluate this team overall? The San Diego Padres, despite a lot of fans thinking they're a bad team and the record isn't showing that they're a bad team, they're a good team. They're a good baseball team. Are they a great baseball team? Absolutely not. If you left this team alone for the remainder of the season, are they winning playoff games? They're probably not winning a lot of playoff games. That doesn't mean they're not good, but it definitely means they're not great. They're a good baseball team. I think Mike Schilt gets a lot out of this team that maybe some of the other managers that we've had in the past wouldn't get out of this team. I think the team is bought in to their style of play. And I don't think necessarily it's the superstars. I think it's the fact that they have a lack of depth, like they did in 2023. And when the top half of the order can't get the job done, the Padres go into some serious lulls where their offense just cannot score any runs. I mean, 0 for 13 yesterday with runners in scoring position. I know some days that's going to happen, but that is not great. They have to be able to get a big hit here and there. And I think the biggest difference with this team compared to other teams in baseball, especially the ones that they're competing with for the playoffs, is their lack of depth, is the fact that the bench doesn't have an answer really late in the game, is the fact that the bottom half of the order is abysmal. We've talked about this over and over and over again. The catching situation is defensive only. Every once in a while, Martín Maldonado and Elias Diaz will run into one. But when you look at the Padres' offensive philosophy, which I don't mind, again, we talked about at the beginning of the year. When they were 14-3, everybody thought it was great. And now that they're not that many games above 500, not 11 games above 500, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to scrap everything. No, they don't. The biggest problem with their offensive philosophy is the personnel that they have. They have that pass the baton, let the next guy get the job done mentality. The problem with that is you run into a black hole when you get to 7, 8, 9 in the order. And that's assuming the top 6 do their job, which hasn't always been the case in 2025. You got Fernando Tatis Jr. obviously dealing with a lot of stuff with the lawsuit and everything else that's going on with his life. It's affecting his play. He's not the same player that he was at the beginning of the season. You could tell in his at-bats. I mean, fans are noticing for sure. And how can you not? And he's supposed to be the guy that leads the top of the lineup. And they have to move down to 4 to try to get him right. Meanwhile, they flip the rise up to the top. Try to get him going again. Xander Bogaerts is slowly starting to come along. I mean, if you look at it, give it a couple more games, Xander Bogaerts is going to pass Fernando in batting average. They're only like a couple points away from each other right now. Now, slug's a little bit different. But overall batting average, Xander's catching Fernando. And I don't know what that says more. Probably says more on Fernando than it says anything else. But you look at the overall lineup, you look at the pitching staff, here's the bullpen is probably one of the better bullpens in Major League Baseball. People driving around and be like, I can't believe he just said that. I don't know what he's watching. I mean, look at last night. The bullpen's been overused. They've been overused. But when they are fresh and healthy and ready to go and used like a normal bullpen, they are, in fact, one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball. They are. That's a major upside. The starting rotation. Starting rotation is kind of iffy. But I'll tell you what about the starting rotation. I have been pleased with the bottom of that rotation getting the job done in the sense of setting their team up to win and putting the Padres in the best situation to win night in and night out, despite not having Michael King, despite not having Yu Darvish, and rolling out guys like Stephen Kolek and Randy Vasquez, and you could go through the list. They've done a good job. So, what do the Padres need to do? Again, the Padres are going to have to wait until closer to the trade deadline before they make any move. Just because we all know what the glaring issues are doesn't mean there are moves readily available for the Padres to make. And if you've listened to Chris Ello talk about this, and I agree, other teams are not actively looking to help out the San Diego Padres. They're just not. And until AJ Preller can find the right deal, you're not going to be able to make any moves. And those deals come about around the trade deadline. They don't need a big star in the lineup that's going to boost everybody. They don't need an ace in the rotation. They just need a couple of moves here and there that will happen close to the trade deadline in order to get things done. So you look at the overall roster. Again, it's not great. It's good, but it's not great. I think the biggest difference between the Padres and the teams competing, I mentioned this before. You look at them against, I hate comparing one to one to the Dodgers because it doesn't make any. It's kind of apples and oranges sometimes. But I'll tell you what about their lineup. That bottom of the lineup, even though it's not great either, it brings more depth than the Padres lineup, and that's a big reason why they're winning. I think the same thing about the Tigers. I might as well I should have brought up the Tigers to begin with. You look at the Detroit Tigers. They played last night. They're the best team in the American League. We saw them early in the year when the Padres were not at full strength. Lost 2 out of 3 to Detroit. Detroit's the best team in baseball in the best team in the American League. Pretty close to being the best team in baseball, if not right there. They have the exact same record as the Dodgers right now. It's the best record in baseball. And you look at Detroit's lineup, and 1 through 9, every one of their players is a contributor. I remember how bad Javi Baez was. Remember how bad that contract was? It's like, oh man, Detroit's got to just eat the Javi Baez contract for the next couple of years. He's like batting 8th or 9th in the order. He's hitting like 280. The bottom half of the order is a big difference. So again, it's just a couple of moves that they have to make, and they'll look like the second half Padres that they had last year. I think a lot of people fail to recognize that or choose not to. But again, like if you just want to quit on them, you can. There's nothing against that. But I'm telling you right now, it's not as bad as people think. I look at the Padres and I compare them to other teams in baseball. The Padres are good. I watched the Arizona Diamondbacks yesterday. They suck. They're not good. They're 1 game under 500. If the Diamondbacks played like the Padres, I would agree with a lot of fans. They're not going to get anything done. And they got all these injuries, and they should sell and everything like that. They're not very good. But look at the Padres. They're not terrible team. They definitely have to play better. I mean, that's not even a conversation. They definitely have to play better. But if you want to sit here and be like, hey, look, the Padres suck and it's just not our year. I mean, you can keep doing that if you want. I don't necessarily know what that's going to accomplish aside from making it sound like you feel like you're right about something. I look at the team again. I don't see a team that's just incredibly as terrible as what a lot of people have said. I mean, I've seen a lot of people just say, and it's emotional after a game like yesterday. Yesterday sucked. You have an opportunity to close the game out. You're up 2-1, and your closer can't get the job done. Which is why I wouldn't be opposed to seeing the Padres potentially buy and sell and get rid and sell off Robert Suarez if they have the opportunity. I think the Padres, bullpen-wise, would be good without him. I definitely don't think the Padres should try to re-sign Robert Suarez when he opts out of his contract at the end of the year. And even though with the year that he's had, thinking he might opt into his contract because he's getting like $10 million a year, with the way that he throws high velo and what closers are getting, some team's going to give Robert Suarez a ton of money. I just hope it's not the Padres. They got enough young guys that are coming through the organization, and a lot of good bullpen arms in the minor leagues that can help facilitate as you bump everybody to the back end of the bullpen. But I got to say, I just, the dooming and glooming, it's not going to do much for you. It's just going to make you feel miserable. So I talk about it all the time. Again, I think this Padres team is as assembled a World Series caliber team? No. But until you get to the trade deadline, you really just kind of have to wait and see. You really just have to wait and see. Now, this week against Philadelphia, let me tell you, I'm not necessarily excited about this week against Philadelphia. Philly's good. Philly's the best team in the in the National League East. Philly's always been really good against the Padres. I mean, it was very important to try to take 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati, and they didn't. Having to take 2 out of 3 from Philadelphia, this might be a frustrating week, man. This might be a frustrating week. Hopefully with Ben and Woods there, it brings a little bit better mojo, but Philadelphia has been one of the biggest problems for the San Diego Padres, I think, in the last decade plus. I don't know if the Padres have ever had success against the Phillies. And if it was before my lifetime. I can't remember a time where the Padres handled the Phillies any type of year. And tonight it will be Matt Waldron against the Philadelphia Phillies. He's going against Zach Wheeler. You got Pivetta against Christopher Sanchez tomorrow, and Wednesday you got Cease versus Mick Abel. All 3 of Philly's starters have a sub-4 ERA. Wheeler's got a 2.45 ERA. Sanchez with a 2.79 ERA. Abel, the 3.47 ERA. We're going to kind of preview that more in the 9 o'clock hour. But it's always a tough start when the Padres have to go to Philadelphia. And we'll see how it goes. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese, just getting started here on a Monday morning. We're filling in for Ben and Woods all week long. If you want to call into the show today, we'll take any one of your calls, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We do want to get to some of the stuff when it comes to, the Padres and their overall series against Cincinnati, as well as what Mike Schilt has had to say about continuing to strand runners on base. You go back to Friday night, Nick Martinez was excellent against the Padres. I've been one of the biggest Nick Martinez fans on the station since he was departed. Did I not say that earlier? Nick, we better watch out for Nick Martinez. I'd love to see Nick Martinez in a Padres uniform at the trade deadline. And then he goes out and has a phenomenal night against the Padres. He almost no-hits the Padres. You can tell the Padres punted on that game, which, again, I'm totally fine with if you win the next 2. Fortunately for the Padres, they only won 1 game. Now, on Saturday, they dug themselves into a hole, but they finally got to see some pop out of that lineup. Gavin Sheets, 3 for 5 with a 3-run homer, 2 doubles, 3 RBIs. Jake Cronenworth hit a home run. Luisa Rise hit a home run. Luisa Rise continues to hit home runs at the Great American Bandbox. I don't know what it is about that place, aside from the fact that the ball flies out of it. But Rise got his 4th home run. Cronenworth his 7th. Sheets his 13th. They rallied back. Good to see. Love to see that out of the Padres. But then they had to finish the job again on Sunday. And yesterday, not only do you let Emilio Pagan get a victory, but yesterday, despite a great start out of Stephen Kolek, 5 2/3, only 1 run, 5 punch-outs, 1 walk. Again, he's had some ups, he's had some downs, but overall he's been very solid into getting the Padres into position to try to win a game. Robert Suarez coughs it up yesterday. I mean, Suarez yesterday, a third of an inning, 4 hits, 2 runs, another blown save. There's something about Robert Suarez, though, where he doesn't limit the damage ever. He, never limits the damage. You get a couple guys on Suarez, man, it's over. It's just he throws the ball really hard, and that's basically it. I mean, honestly, I think it's amazing how many saves that he has in the season. I think it's amazing. Because I don't understand how I don't know how to understand how he's just a lockdown closer. I mean, it just feels shaky every single time. You had Tyler Wade come in for Xander Bogaerts late in the game. I don't know if that was something to do with his calf or anything that happened in the game, but he pinch hit for Bogaerts late in the game. I think it was might have been some type of an injury thing for Xander, who went 3 for 4 yesterday with a couple of doubles and a home run. It's nice to see him slug a little bit. And then you got Tyler Wade going into the game. Might have booted a ball that Xander Bogaerts would have had. But as bad as that last inning was, you got to be able to get some hits with runners in scoring position. They had 13 opportunities yesterday, went 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. That caps off and transitions us into this next kind of grouping. That caps off a weekend for the Padres in which they went 1 for 24 with runners in scoring position. 1 for 24. 26 runners left on base in the series. I mean, just like 2 hits, and the Padres are right there in definitely winning the series. And who knows what happens on Friday. I mean, they just could not drive in runs. That's been a problem that the Padres have had all season long. And again, I think a lot of it has to do with the way that they go through the order. They get knocks, they get guys on base, and then they get to a black hole at the bottom of the lineup almost every single time. And then you get opportunities for your stars, and they haven't come through a lot either. But you start to look at overall the runners in scoring position. Go look at some of the metrics with the entire team. And what you're going to find is that, honestly, the biggest reason the Padres have had some issues, again, is not necessarily because of the stars. Aside from Bogaerts, who's been a major problem with runners in scoring position. But it's been about the lack of depth and the lack of lineup in the order. If you pull up the metrics, you pull up the numbers of what the Padres have done with runners in scoring position, and you look at the weighted runs created plus, which again, 100 on this list is an average player. Jake Cronenworth, 150. Good. Gavin Sheets, 128. Good. Jackson Merrill, 117. Good. Fernando Tatis Jr., 122. Manny Machado, 115. Luis Arraez, 113. Those aside from Xander Bogaerts, who's been awful with runners in scoring position this year, those are your core players and your stars. And they are getting the job done with runners in scoring position. The guys that aren't, Brandon Lockridge, no longer on the team, down in AAA. Oscar Gonzalez, no longer on the team, not even in the organization. Jason Hayward, no longer in the organization. Still better than Xander Bogaerts, who's hitting 189. He's got a 48 weighted runs created plus, who's been awful with runners in scoring position. Yuli Gurriel, no longer part of the organization. Luis Camposano has a 7 WRC plus. He's still yet to get a hit in the major leagues in 2025. He's down in AAA. Still better than your catchers. Elias Diaz hitting 128 with a -3 WRC plus with runners in scoring position, and Martin Maldonado batting .048 with runners in scoring position and a -43 weighted runs created plus. I won't even throw Trenton Brooks under the bus. He hasn't been on the team long enough. He's 17th on that number. Iglesias in the middle, 99 WRC plus. You'll take that. It's okay. But the bottom of your order is not good. Those are spots in your order, though, that you can make adjustments on very cheaply at the trade deadline. That's why it's not time to panic yet. Now, if they're doing this after the trade deadline, after they added people, then you could start just freaking out about the San Diego Padres. But until then, you can kind of keep it cool a little bit when it comes to the Pods. This weekend not great? Wasn't great. I thought yesterday was one of those losses that you're going to get in your 60 losses of the year that are just going to be ones that sting. And we've seen a couple of those already. There was like 5 of those last year at least. I think we've had at least 2 or 3. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. I already got a couple of people on hold that want to talk Padres baseball early in the morning. Braden Surprenant, Frank Marchese filling in for Ben and Woods as they're out in Philly. Let's get out to Derek in La Mesa. Derek, what's going on, man? Good morning.
My man. Hey, brother. Keep spitting the truth, man. I was on your show last week, and I was telling Padre fans to chill out. We're fine. But I get it. I mean, Braden, you just can't go 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. With this lineup, you just can't. And I know we got a black hole at the back end of this lineup, but oh my goodness, that was awful. And I'll tell you what, we're gonna have a rough time in Philly. I just have a feeling. So buckle up. Here it comes.
I agree with you, Derek. I can't remember a time that the Padres went to Philly and everything was good. I'm telling you, I'm hoping Ben, Woods, and Paul bring some good mojo, man, because I can't remember a time going to Philadelphia where the Padres didn't look like complete S every single time. I'm just warning you now. I mean, for all the doomers out there, they're going to be licking their chops at the next 3 days because I don't know how great this is going to be. Even when the Padres are red hot, they don't do well in Philadelphia. Even when they're red hot, they don't do well in Philadelphia. They're coming in, limping in, going over 13 with runners in scoring position. Man, you better hope the knuckleball is working tonight. You better hope the knuckleball is working tonight. I mean, it's not going to be fun. If the Padres take 2 out of 3 from Philly, let me tell you, throw a parade. Throw a parade. Throw one on Friday. If the Padres take 2 out of 3 from Philly, it's not going to be great. At least Kyle Schwarber's not facing Yu Darvish to start a game. I mean, at least that's a positivity of this week. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Robert and Escondido, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show, filling in for Ben and Woods. What's going on, man?
Yeah, there's 3 names that the Padres need to get right now. There's Liam Hicks, Andrew McCutchen, and Mickey Moniak. That won't cost them a lot of money. I feel like they're going to stink it up in Philly. They should have won this series against Cincy, but they didn't. And that's all I got, brother.
All right, Robert. I appreciate it. They could even have better guys than Robert just named, and it's not going to cost them a lot. The reason for hope and optimism, again, people don't like hope and optimism. They like to be miserable. I'm telling you right now, you should see, like, you shouldn't, but you should see when I'm out with my friends talking about, I mean, the Padres, you think I'm just like this positive guy. I'm not. I'm probably one of the most negative people you'll meet. I try to keep things positive on the air and spew my negativity everywhere. But I'm telling you, if there was a reason to be super negative, I'd be all over it. There's not. And if anybody remembers last year, we were destroying this team every single day for the first 3 months of the season. Why? Because they were around 500 or below for the entire first half of last season. I had to keep saying it. I was tired of Mike Schilt telling me how great of a team they had when they were playing 500 ball. I kept mentioning it. I was like, look, man, you can say everything you want about how great your team is, but you are what your record is. And if you play 500 ball through 100 games, you're a 500 ball club. And guess what they didn't finish? 500. Last year's not a reason to be overly optimistic for this year. You can't just rely on the fact that Mike Schilt has a really good second half numbers as a coach. But what I can say is this team in the first half has played a lot better than the team last year. Does everybody forget about last year? I mean, last year they sucked for the first half of the year. They were not good. You added the margins, stoke a little life, get a break after the All-Star, get a break during the All-Star break, and all of a sudden you're back and ready to go. I'm just telling you, there's too many good facets of this Padres team to just be like, just give up and say the team stinks. They're not playing well. Over 13 is unacceptable with runners in scoring position. You got to be way better than that. Good teams find a way to win. And that's a big reason why I think this team is a good team. Because that 26-game stretch, that 26 games in 27 days, they played a lot of good teams, and they did not play well during that entire stretch. I don't think there's one game during that entire stretch you're like, wow, this Padres team looks great. They still split in that entire week, in the 2 weeks that it was. They find ways to win. I don't know how they're winning sometimes. But you better strap in this week. I mean, I can't imagine them. I can't imagine them winning a game in Philadelphia. I can't imagine them winning a game in Philadelphia. People are like, well, have you seen the Phillies lately? They're terrible. Yeah. Have you seen the Phillies against the Padres ever? I'm not thinking it's going to be awesome this week. So every win in Philadelphia, you should celebrate a lot because I don't know how many you're going to get. They are in first place in the NL East. When we come back, we're going to talk about the runners in scoring position. Let's talk more about what the problems are, how to fix them, and what Mike Schilt thinks. We'll talk about that as we just get started on the Braden Surprenant Show, filling in for Ben and Woods on a Monday morning. San Diego Number One Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. 6:36 on a Monday morning here in America's finest city. I tell you what, filling in for this show in the summertime is a lot better than doing it in the wintertime. The sun is actually up during the first hour of the show. This is great. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese, filling in for Ben and Woods for the next couple of days as they're in Philadelphia. I hope they can bring some good mojo for the San Diego Padres because Padres don't do well in Philly, man. I don't think they've ever done well in Philly. I can't remember a time that they've ever done well at Citizens Bank Park. At least not in my lifetime. I've never seen them do well against Philadelphia. Ever. So, hopefully that's the case. Ben and Woods go have some cheesesteaks, bring some good mojo. And let's say it like this. I'm going to put the pressure on. We will not blame the losses on Ben and Woods because we already know the Padres can't win in Philly. But if they win, they should get all the credit for the winning. I hope they sweep Philadelphia.
Wait.
Mike Swing, here we go.
Hold on, time out. So they get all the credit for the win, but they get no flack for the loss.
It's a win-win. Yeah, it's great. It's great for them.
Why can't I get a deal like that?
I don't know. You're not Ben and Woods?
I guess not. I guess not.
No, Frank. How was your weekend, Frank?
It was fine. It was relaxing, actually. Yesterday was a little because I knew I had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get ready for today. But other than that, solid weekend.
You got up at 4 a.m.?
Yeah.
What's the commute like from the South Bay up here?
It's not bad. It's 20 minutes, but, there's the giving yourself time to wake up and showering and then,
Getting locked in for the day.
Exactly.
I like it. Frank's ready to have a week, huh?
It'll be one of the weeks of all time for sure.
But the Padres being in Philly and us filling in for Ben and Woods and Padres going 1-2 against Cincinnati over the weekend. I mean, it's set up to fight the Doomers this entire week. I think, didn't they say that before they left? They're like, you got to give them the business, hold their feet to their fire, give them some phone calls in there.
I think so.
Oh, I mean, let's go. I'm ready to take on all the Doomers. And bring some positivity on a Monday morning. It's a big week this week. You got a holiday on Friday. It's America's 249th birthday on Friday.
There you go.
Everybody gets Friday off. I think a lot of you are probably taking Thursday off, if I'm not mistaken. At least get off early on Thursday. Are we off early on Thursday? No, we're off early on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday we're out
full
early
show
for
Thursday.
Pregame show.
Hey, you get to hear me for 8 hours on Thursday.
Yeah.
8 straight hours of Braden and Frank on Thursday.
Like I said,
lock in.
And like I said, I bet we could do the second 4 hours word for word.
I bet you too.
Same exact word for word.
I bet you too. All right, dude. Like, here's the deal. I will not tolerate outlandish things. People are like, well, good teams find a way to win, bad teams find a way to lose. Padres do both, so therefore they're a mediocre team. They're 7 games above 500. Okay. Last year, they were under 500 around this time. Did they sell last year? No. What do they say? What is it? What do I say in my open? You cannot sell during a Manny Machado prime year. These are the prime years of this guy's career. You can't punt on these. Padres are looking like a sell candidate at the deadline, let's be honest. What are you talking about? They're not. If they are, it's going to set back the franchise more than you think. Because, again, as I've talked about before, there's no guarantee that next year is always going to be better, and it's not always going to be better. If you have a winning record and you're in contention in the wild card in Major League Baseball, you should be going after it every chance you get, because next year you could have you could be the Arizona Diamondbacks and have half your rotation hurt for the season and have some of your star players out for a long period of time. That is a team that sells. Being fully healthy, having stars, and being some marginal pieces away while being above 500, that is not a team that sells just because you're emotionally upset that they lost 2 out of 3 to Cincinnati. That's not a team that sells. You buy. You buy. And they don't even have to buy that much. And here's the other thing. Did we not mention this before it was even reported by Dennis Lynn. Did we not mention this? I think we mentioned this. Other teams value the Padres farm system more than MLB Pipeline does. Some of them even think it's a top 10 farm system. Now, I don't know if I'm really ready to say that. But I'll tell you what. If other organizations value the Padres farm system a lot better than what they're being evaluated by writers, AJ Preller's going to have room to make some moves. And they don't need gigantic superstar players. They need guys like Ward. Ward for the Angels. They need guys like Luis Robert Jr., who's now on the injured list, by the way, so you don't really need him. You'd be taking a gigantic roll the dice on him like he's just going to turn into something that he used to be. We mentioned on Friday. I kind of jokingly mentioned on Friday, you could just make one deal with the Orioles and get everything you need. You got Ryan O'Hearn. He's a DH, first base, could play a little outfield. You could get Cedric Mullins. You can get Ramon Laureano. You can get Gary Sanchez. Isn't very good. Might be better than what you got a catcher, though, offensively. You could get Zach Eflin. I mean, make one move with Baltimore. All those guys are rentals. All of a sudden, bang. We're cooking. My least favorite phrase all the time from people. This is the most cringe phrase I hear from Padres fans. Fans in general. Not Padres fans. Fans in general. We get player X, Y, and Z. We ride. It's the most cringe phrase I've ever seen. We ride. What is this, the Denver Broncos? What are you, riding? Russ? Let Russ cook, man. That always works out well. Again, I feel like I have to do this every time the Padres lose a series, but you look at who they're competing with. Again, stop trying to... They're not going to win the division. That happened in the 7 games against LA, in which they went 2-5. That set the tone that they're not going to win the division unless LA starts to fall apart and the Padres go on a huge roll. If they pull within 5 games of the division in the second half, I'll entertain the conversation. But until then, I'm not. You look at the wild card, the Giants are trending downwards, the Diamondbacks are trending downwards. You look at other teams in Major League Baseball. I mean, you could be the Mets right now. You should have seen Frank's face when he walked in today. They're trending downward.
Why am I catching strays?
You're not catching strays. I'm using it as an example. The Atlanta Braves, people still think he can compete. They're 7 games under 500. Padres are 7 games over 500. First 7 games of the year. The Braves are 7 games under 500. Their first 7 games of the year. Milwaukee, you already took 2 out of 3 from them in Milwaukee. Don't have to worry about them too much, I don't think. Milwaukee might even sell at the deadline. I don't know why they would do that, but that's what some of the reports are saying. St. Louis Cardinals, they're 9 games up. Haven't played them yet. They're not a team that necessarily scares me too much. And even though Cincinnati just took 2 out of 3 from the Padres were right there and should have been able to win the last couple of games. I'm not seeing a lot of teams in the wild card that you're like overly afraid of, or teams that you can't compete with, to be honest with you. So from that standpoint, again, they're right there in the thick of things. I mean, the Angels might not even sell at the deadline because they're like a game and a half out of the wild card. That would be kind of ridiculous, but they might go after it. There's still a lot of games left before the trade deadline, before you could start thinking about whether or not, the team's cooked or not. People just like to say outlandish things after losses. Now, the 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position, not great. Again, you can mention the bad with the good. Mike Schultz talked about that for 30 seconds, going 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position yesterday.
A lot of good at bats to get to that point, but we play a lot of close games and we needed to figure out a way to add on, and have a little bit of margin for error, with our pitching group. But yeah, great at bats, a lot of traffic, just couldn't get the proverbial big hit or hits to break it open. Had a lot of chances, and on the contrast, they were 4 for 8. They did their part, and did it at the end where it mattered. So, that was pretty much the key to the game.
With the offense that the Padres have overall, we're talking about the pass the baton offense, which I still think is better than having the we play for the big bash offense. Because when you put string hits together and you put pressure on, that travels everywhere in the postseason. Now, they got to be able to get that big hit, but when you're continually adding pressure and applying pressure, remember, we all loved this when they were 14-3. There's a lot of intangibles that it brings, especially with guys that are not as good at the bottom of the order. Now, you still got to be able to get that big hit. But I still like that over the 2023 offensive approach of just waiting for the big hit. We all know how 2023 worked out. And again, I don't think this team is anywhere close to the 2023 team that the Padres have. I think their manager's better with Mike Schilt than Bob Melvin. And I'm not a Bob Melvin hater. I think a lot of Padres fans are Bob Melvin haters. I'm not one of those people, but I will say that I think I like Mike Schilt in charge of this ball club more than I like Bob Melvin in charge of this ball club. 2023 also had a lot of selfish individuals and some other things, and they just were not clicking together. This team is bought in, and they definitely do click together. You had a couple of different pieces in there, and again, it's going to be fine. Try to talk you guys off the ledge. One of their best assets is their bullpen. Their bullpen is one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball. People will argue it's not of the last couple of weeks, but I'm going to tell you right now, the fact that they're being overworked is showing the signs right now. Frank told us last week, I think Adam and Estrada and Morejon are all near the top, if not at the top of appearances this year in Major League Baseball. You cannot have that. And it's another reason why people always go, why are they throwing Yuki Matsui here? Well, you have to throw somebody, and you can't throw those three individuals every single night. But that being said, their bullpen is one of the best in Major League Baseball. It's honestly a big reason why they have been winning when they have been performing well offensively or from the starting staff. And you're starting to see some of that fatigue in the last couple of weeks. Just like last night. Just like yesterday. Mike Schilt talking about the bullpen's performance with no room for error.
Kolek was good too. Not an easy decision. He was good. You know, the heat, not a major factor in the decision. The major factor in the decision is just the matchup, the lefty against De La Cruz. It's, you know, there's pretty big significant difference in that. And Morejon's been great. Was great again. You know, the difference. You know, he got a soft ground ball and just found a hole. But next thing you know, it's 1-0. We did punch back next inning. You know, and you know, I do want to reward Bogey for his efforts today because he really had a really good day with the bat, and like what Iglesias did with, you know, his at bat. You know, he found a way to get the guy in. And then, you know, Estrada was fantastic. Adam pitched his tail off to, you know, lead off double out there, you know, and then Suarez, you know, he couldn't make a play and the walk the Bucks and just opened it up.
What's going on with Xander?
He had a pretty severe cramp.
Just came up after the scoring.
Yeah, I mean, he's a full day out there today, and came up and right before his at bat in the ninth, you know, cramped up.
Which is what we thought. He looked like he pulled up on his calf. People were worried about his shoulder. Dude's hitting a bomb and 2 doubles. Probably not the shoulder. Not when he came up limping down the first baseline on another play earlier in the game. So they give him a break. Wade goes in. Wade boots the ball. Suarez boots the game, and the Padres lose 2-1. Here's the thing about Robert Suarez. Robert Suarez, in his last couple of games, has not been great. And the other thing with Robert Suarez, my friend said this yesterday, I totally agree. He pitched in college, and he's like, every time I watch Robert Suarez pitch, the guy cannot limit damage. He cannot limit damage. That's why I hate seeing the Padres bring Suarez in with guys on base in the 8th inning. Those 4-out saves for Robert Suarez are tough too. I mean, there was earlier in the season, I forget who they were playing against, but I remember they put Robert Suarez in the 8th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And the first batter he faced, he walked. And he walked in a run. But the problem was the umpire called it a strike. Now, that's great for the Padres, but he walked the leadoff bat, the first batter he saw, the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 8th inning. He walked in either the game tying or go-ahead run, because that Petco Park. I can't remember off the top of my head what team they were playing against. He walked in the run. He got bailed out by the umpire. It saved him. But you watch Robert Suarez pitch. When guys get on base, he becomes he looks awful. I'd have to take a deeper dive. I'd have to look at his numbers. I'd have to literally dive deep into the numbers of like what he is like with guys on base. I can't imagine it very good. I can't imagine his numbers being very good. To me, a closer needs to be a guy that can handle all sorts of pressure, and you are confident in that pitcher getting the job done. Start going through the arms in that bullpen. I am way more confident Adrian Morejon to get me an out when we need it over Robert Suarez. I'm way more confident in Jason Adam. Even though the Dodgers have tagged Estrada in the last couple of outings, I am still more confident in Jeremiah Estrada getting outs with runners on base in a high leverage situation against who would probably be the best opponent you would face in the playoffs, the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have done the best against Estrada. I would still take Estrada over Suarez. And for all the people who go like, well, why did they leave Suarez in for so long? Who else are you going to go to? Who else are you going to go to? Suarez is that's your like last line of defense right there. He's your closer. Okay, let's just, for case and argument, let's just say that Robert Suarez didn't have it yesterday after he faced the 3 batters, and you wanted to go with somebody else in the bullpen. Who are you going with? You used Morejon, you used Estrada, and you used Adam. You going with Yuki Matsui? You going with Wandy Peralta? I mean, you going with Morgan? Like, who are you going with? I'm all ears. I mean, I go ahead. But you can't sit there and be like yesterday, well, like Robert Suarez didn't have, like, how long are they going to leave Robert Suarez? He's the closer. Who else are they going to put in? When you already used your 3 best relievers in the game in Morejon, Estrada, and Adam. There's nobody to save Robert Suarez. He's like a special forces guy. Nobody's coming to help him. He's on his own. Nobody's coming to help him. And the problem is I don't necessarily think Robert Suarez is the guy that can save himself out of bad situations. He throws incredibly hard, but if he gets a couple runners on base, I'm sorry, this game's pretty much over. Unless he's got a 3-run lead. I don't know what you do with Robert Suarez. Maybe you can fix him. I mean, I was saying the same thing last year, and he ended up doing at the end of the season, he ended up doing well in the postseason, but he didn't really have too many opportunities in the postseason. Done with the first hour. If you want to join the show, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to dive into a Padres mailbag when we come back at 7. Braden Surprenant filling in for Bennett Woods, San Diego Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. 7 a.m. hour on the Braden Surprenant shows. We fill in for Ben and Woods the rest of the week. Ben and Woods are in Philadelphia. They are active on their social media. They went and saw the Liberty Bell today. Smaller than you think, Woods said. That's all he said. I don't know what he was talking about, but that's what he said. So you're going to have to check out his social media if you want to see exactly what he was talking about. But he said it's smaller than you think. So are you grinning over there?
No reason.
I'm
happy this morning.
I'm just saying what he said.
I'm not saying anything.
I'm just saying what he said. That's what he said. I didn't see the context of it, but they just said it's smaller than you think.
He might have been talking about the end of the bell. I don't know. Like the bottom of the crack, maybe like the very end of the crack, possibly.
Is that what he was talking about?
Could possibly be. I don't know.
Just that?
Just look at his tweet, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Why is it blurry? What is he talking about? You're going to have to go check it out for yourselves. If you haven't done so already, you can follow us on social media at @B_SURP, at BSURP. You can follow Frank Marchese at FMarks324. I guess this audience knows you as Italian Paul.
Yes, they do.
Am I going to call you that this week?
You don't have to.
All right, I wasn't planning on it.
Okay. Well,
you like your new shirts?
I do love the new shirts. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Braden Surprenant show shirts.
I'm not gonna unfold them because I hate folding shirts, but there it is. There. Oh
no, it's gonna.
Really, camera? Really?
Show the blue one. I'm wearing the pink one.
We're doing this thing.
So there you go. We got the blue and the pink for OTL coming up.
Trying to show the logo, but this camera won't play ball. We got to get a working.
The logo looks
camera.
just like the one on YouTube. It's just in different colors. But anyway, we got these
working
shirts.
Camera.
We got a lot of people that are going to be wearing them for OTL on July 12th. I will be out there playing. Is Frank going to come hang out with us?
I will be out there. I will
be
out there. I will support you guys. You just got to give me an address and a time, and I'll be there.
Fiesta Island.
That's not an address.
Yeah, it is. Just put it in. Just type in Fiesta Island into your Google Apple Maps.
Got it.
You'll find yourself. Have you ever been to Fiesta Island?
Straight into the Google machine.
Yes. Have you ever been there?
I probably have. I just don't remember.
Okay.
I have a good memory for useless nonsense. I don't have a good memory for stuff I actually need to be rememberative of.
Okay.
Like names. Faces I got. Names I'm not good with.
I'm starting to realize that it's very difficult to remember names of people. I used to be really good with names, and then I started coaching football, and when you have 50 names every single... It's not like this current team. I know everybody on the team. But then they come back, and they're grown adult versions of the 15-year-old that I coached. And I immediately go like, this person looks familiar, but I'm like, I either coached this kid or he was on one of the USD teams where I was covering or whatever. And then it's like, I know your face. I don't remember your name. And then I have to be like, start naming me players from your team because I don't remember what team you're on.
Yep.
You're just all of like, I coached you before. What team it was, I can't remember. And now it's mixing with the USD student athletes that I have to cover for work when I do play-by-play for USD. Now I'm like, did you play at USD or did you play at Cathedral?
Are you one of those like straight up ask the guy the question, or do you like try to give hints like, hey, I know I coached you at... And then you just wait for them to fill in the blank.
What's going on? How's everything going?
So you're a hinter. You're like, I know you, but I don't know you
right
at this moment. Okay.
So it's and then so you mix it with a lot of people, and it's hard to remember a lot of. And the thing is, it's like coaching high school kids is when they get to, I mean now they're like some of the first group of kids I coached are now old enough to drink and stuff like that. So now you see them as like a grown adult. I mean, think back to what you look like when you're 15. You don't look like that anymore.
Nope.
You kind of do, but you don't really. So it makes it even more difficult to remember some of those names. And the ones that get me the best, like the one position group I never coach, because I coach defense, DBs a lot, and special teams, offensive linemen. If you played O-line for Cathedral in the last 10 years, I will know your face. I will not know your name. I'll just be like, he's probably one of our offensive linemen. because that's the one position we don't use on special teams. The only time we use that is on PAT, and I let the O-line coach handle PAT. Just leave. I don't leave your 5 guys. Leave the 5 big guys in there, and we'll figure it out.
Fair enough.
So that is that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Again, Braden Surprenant show filling in for Ben Woods. They are in Philadelphia. If you haven't done so already and you're watching on YouTube, give us a like on the YouTube video. It helps us out a lot in growing our brand, growing our show, everything like that. If you like what you hear during the morning, we're on every day after Ben and Woods. You can kick it right here with us for the rest of the day. Ben and Woods are usually on from 6 to 10. We're on from 10 to 2 every single day. The Braden Surprenant show. And then Gwen and Chris are on after us. And today, Gwen and Chris are after us again. They're going to take over at 10 a.m. today. So the Braden Surprenant show is in the morning. And Gwen and Chris got the middays this week. How about that?
They're going to love the no traffic. Well, Scraby is going to love the no traffic on the way home.
I had to talk to Frank about the traffic thing because I don't know how that works. I've been doing middays and working midday shows for the last, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is. Never had to do with traffic. I don't know how it works.
If you get out of here fast enough, if you're able to get out of here before 2:30, it's usually pretty good. You're usually fine. If you can't get out of here before 2:30, you're starting to get into the 5 o'clock, and it stinks.
And usually in the fall, I'm rushing to Cathedral, so getting out, I beat the 8:05 traffic, but I'm also going opposite. Everywhere I'm going is opposite of where the traffic goes, which is perfect.
Which I hate you for.
Perfect. Anyway, everything gets bumped up for this week in Philadelphia. Padres will take on the Phillies. We do want to get to your phone calls. We also want to get to this Padres mailbag. I don't know if we have time to get to some of the mailbag. Dennis Lynn had his mailbag. We're going to answer some of the questions that Dennis was asked. And we also are going to get to this nugget that just came out in the Padres daily newsletter by Kevin Acee. I think Kevin does a great job at this. A lot of it has to do with the runners in scoring position and some other things. But he talks about in today's newsletter how the Padres have cooled off. If you look at the Padres in their first 38 games compared to their past 45 games, it's very, very different. First 38 games of the season, the San Diego Padres, 25-13, had a .269 batting average. Nice. First in Major League Baseball. They had a 335 on base percentage, 5th best in baseball. Their slug was 409, 9th best in baseball. They did have some slug. And their average with runners in scoring position was 284. That was the 4th best in Major League Baseball. In their past 45 games, to no one's surprise, the Padres are 20-25. Their batting average is 228, which is 28th out of 30 teams in Major League Baseball. Their on-base percentage has dropped down to 298. Their slugging is now 354, which is 29th in baseball. And their average with runners in scoring position is now 205. They went from an batting average with runners in scoring position from 284 in the first 38 games of the season to 205 in the past 45 games of the season. That's a massive drop-off. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit as I break down the newsletter from Kevin Acee this morning on a lot of these different things. Not only that, he mentions the Robert Suarez slippage that we kind of addressed in the last segment. And there's a couple tidbits in there as well. We're going to get to that later on in the show. Do you want to get to your phone calls, though? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Claremont, where Michael is standing by. Michael, what's going on, man?
Hey, Braden, nice to talk to you. I've got an interesting trade option here maybe for the Padres to get a left fielder. How about trading Suarez to the Braves for Jurickson Profar?
Trading Robert Suarez to the Braves for Jurickson Profar. I mean, that's an interesting move, I guess.
You got to remember, though, if you're going to trade for Jurickson Profar, he's not playoff eligible because of the suspension.
So you'd only get him for the second half of the season anyway.
Yeah, so that would not – I mean, it would be nice. It'd be a nice story, and you'd have him under contract, I think, for a year or two more. But that's not a if you're looking to win this year, that's not a win this year move.
I like the thought process. But at the same time, yes. I mean, no, thank you. It would be to get him back for the next couple of years. Not to worry and add him his contract, but why would the Braves do that? Are the Braves a closer away from being a playoff contender? It is interesting about potentially sending a closer somewhere to get an outfielder. You'd have to find somebody that's contending that has a plethora of outfielders that is allowed, or should I say that will have, I'm trying to justify it. It's not that great of an idea. It's cool, but you can't play in the playoffs, so it doesn't do anything for you. I wouldn't be opposed to trading Robert Suarez. I don't know what you can get for him, but I just don't. He's not a elite closer in Major League Baseball where he's worth the money. Plus, he's up there in age anyway. Honestly, if he continues down this path, he might not opt out. I think the odds of that are probably like 20% or less, but he might not opt out. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Kevin and El Cajon, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kevin?
Good morning, fellas. Hey, you just talked about the stats from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And if you watch the games, I think one of the biggest things that you saw is that the patience and discipline at the plate at the beginning of the season was amazing. We had long batting counts. We worked the pitchers. We got them out early. We had 6, 7, 8 pitch counts with batter after batter after batter. And now we chase balls out of the zone. We can't see the pitches. I don't know what's going on, but it's like our guys forgot how to actually see pitches and work counts.
Yeah, a little bit I think has to do with the pressure, right? They feel a little bit. I mean, it's when you go through this and you're just frustrated with your offensive production and you start thinking too much and all that stuff from the top guys and thinking you got to go and do too much. So all of a sudden you start getting results like that. I think some of that is definitely at play, but you definitely see it. It's just a little bit different. They're not grinding out those at-bats like they did. They don't trust the guy behind them as much as they did in the beginning part of the season. I think there's a lot to that when you have an offense that relies on passing the baton to the next guy. You can't be half in on that. You have to be all in on that. And the other thing, too, it's with this passing the baton to the next guy, you can't have a glaring black hole at the bottom of your order, which is exactly what the Padres have right now. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Frank Marchese, Braden Surprenant. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the runners in scoring position and some of the other stats that Kevin Acee has found in his daily newsletter. Plus, we'll get to this mailbag at the end of this particular hour as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, filling in for Ben and Woods, who are in Philadelphia this week on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 7:19 on a Monday morning. Braden Surprenant, Frank Marchese on the Braden Surprenant Show. We fill in for Ben and Woods, who are in Philly this week. Hopefully the boys can bring home some victories for the Padres because they will need it on this road trip. We talked about yesterday's game a lot and how frustrating it was. And the Padres wrap-up is brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino. Resorts, the players' place. We talked a lot about that in the first hour. There's a couple other things in there. There's a quote from Manny Machado that's very important, I think. And we'll get to that in just a second. Rod asked, how was the steak last night? I cooked that for meal prep this week, Rod, for a couple of days. In fact, this is what I'm going to do. When I get home, since it's still in the morning, I'm going to have breakfast. I can't tell you the last time I had breakfast. It's usually a weekend thing. I'm up, moving around, doing stuff, either working out on a Monday morning or going to a workout or doing all these things and get back. I don't have time to cook breakfast. It's usually coffee and go. I'm a show and go, coffee and go guy in the morning. When it comes to my routine, I would prefer to have breakfast in the morning. But this week we had those ribeye steaks. So I had to go get, I'd cook them this week. And with the holiday on the weekend, like, I know I'm not going to eat well over the weekend, so I might as well just only plan for a couple of days. And I cooked a lot of that steak, Rod, that ribeye steak, for some steak and eggs this morning when I get home. Can I eat steak and eggs at 5 in the morning before I go to the morning show? No, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. There'll be an upset stomach. When I get back, I'm going to make some sourdough toast with some avocado on there, a little olive oil, which is double fat, but that's okay. A little olive oil, a little salt, a little pepper. Put some eggs down, put some steak down, a little bit of cheese. Bang, breakfast. I'll have another cup of coffee probably when I get home. It's going to be great. But something has happened this morning for one of my friends. I think it's funny. But it leads to an interesting topic of conversation that Frank and I had during the break. So my friend this morning had to drop his dad off at the airport. He drops his dad off at the airport. And as he's driving home, he gets a phone call from a random phone number. And he's like, who is this? Mike Swing. So he answers the phone. And it's his dad from some random phone at the airport. And he goes, I don't know where my phone is. I can't find my phone. I don't have it. I've lost it. This is a major problem going to the airport. Can you do anything anymore without your phone? Can you go on a trip without your phone?
You think you can, but I don't think
you can.
Possible.
Not in this day and age with all the information on your phone. Like, especially if you didn't bring like a laptop. If your plane tickets are on your phone, you got to go to could we have your reservation? What's your reservation number? It's on my phone. I don't think he'd do anything without his phone. And so he tells my friend, his son, I think it might be in your car. Call it and see if it's in your car. So my buddy hangs up and calls his dad's phone. It rings, and guess what? It ain't ringing in his car. So it's not there. A lady answers the phone. It's from his dad's apartment at condo complex. She said she found it on the ground. And it's back at his house. Now what do you do?
You got to go back and give it to him.
You got to go get the phone, right? Like he can't jump on the flight without his phone. You can't try. And if he didn't get there in plenty time of advance, like he probably didn't make his flight. If my buddy was able to get the phone, get back to the airport and get it to his dad to get through security and on the plane before the plane leaves, remarkable. A round of applause.
This is why you get to the airport like 2 hours early. Sure, it sucks sitting there, but like this is the kind of stuff that could happen. You get held up at security or you got to run back home and grab your phone.
You get to the airport early, not to get through security, but just in case you decide, or not decide, you accidentally leave your phone. Here's the other thing. I don't know how older people forget their phone places. I have never left my house without my phone. Now, I think in a younger generation, we're all like just like this all the time, which is bad. I agree. We should probably not do that. How do you leave your house without your phone? I don't get it. My mom does that all the time.
I've done it a couple times also. It's not fun.
My mom is a real estate agent. Braden Surprenant. She'll sell your house. She'll help buy a house. All that stuff. She has open houses all the time. She had one the other day in Del Cerro. Didn't forget her phone this time. She forgot her lunch. That's more reasonable. There are a lot of times my mom will go to an open house and not have her phone. How do you do what you do without your phone? And at what point while you're driving do you not know where your phone is? As soon as I get in my car, it's plugged in for either music, Odyssey app. I use it for maps. I even know where I'm going all the time. I like the ETA on my little Apple CarPlay. How do you leave your house without your phone? So the question I ask you, Frank, and I have an answer to this. What is the one thing that you have forgotten that has been immediately heart sink? I can't believe I forgot that. That is the most important thing I need in order to do what I'm doing when I get there.
I have forgotten my key card to get into the office a couple times.
That's not the end of the world.
While I was in New York. So in New York,
slightly
you have to
different
say,
than here.
while you're
it's not
in New
a
York,
20-minute commute like it is here.
No, my travel from Babylon in New York to Manhattan was easily, with all the traffic, started on the Southern State Parkway at exit 37 and did not end until I got to the building in Manhattan. Was about 2 to 2.5 hours, depending upon what way I decided to go and how much traffic there was. Easily 2.5 hours. When you get to that building and you realize you don't have that thing in your wallet or wherever, like, oh, come on.
At least though, there's like people that can let you in. You can find
during COVID though, there wasn't.
You can still you can find solutions.
You have to walk up to if there's no one in the office, because for me, when I started, it was usually the 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. shift, which don't ever do a 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. shift.
That sounds miserable.
It was, you have to do the walk of shame up to the desk clerk, say, hey, I'm an idiot. I forgot my key card. I work here, here, here. They usually called up to the floor to make sure you're not lying, and then they printed you a temporary card. Or somebody would come down and get you.
For the people that are asking, like Brandon asked, like, how far does your buddy's dad live from the? He lives in I think he lives in the just outside of Hillcrest, like in that kind of area.
Oh, so it's not
it's like the south, yeah,
far.
like closer to downtown. So it's it's not far. Because if you live in Carlsbad or something, he's hosed. Now, something like this happened to me. I have season tickets to TCU football. And I go to one game a year. I sell the rest, or I give them to my friends that still live out there. And one of the weeks I wanted to go to a game. I wanted to see them play Texas for the final time. And so when I have to go to games, because I coach high school football, it's usually on a bye week, just to make it easier. I fly out on a Thursday night. I take the Friday off, or, take the Friday off, enjoy my 3-day stay in Fort Worth, Texas. And it's nice and easy, right? It's a weekend trip. Now, that particular weekend they played Texas, I was, you know what? I want to watch them play Texas. It's not a bye week. We have a playoff game. I'm going to have to go. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to take the first flight out of San Diego to Love Field, flying Southwest, and let's just hope the game is a 2:30 kick or a 6:30 kick. Those are the Central Time kicks in college football. And those are some of the flex ones, right? So it's okay, we got to roll the dice. We get the 6:30 kick. Perfect. Beautiful. I'm meeting one of my friends there. He's a Cowboys fan. He's like, well, I don't have to be at the high school football game. I'm going to go out there Thursday night and enjoy my weekend stay in Dallas, Fort Worth. Go to the Star on Friday, all that stuff. I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's fine. My dad wanted to go on the trip too. He coaches as well. And so we were going to fly out Saturday morning. So game happens. We end up losing the game anyway. So the season's over. I don't have to worry about like breaking film down. It's going to be great. I get to the airport early in the morning, and we're there earlier than we usually are. My mom dropped us off, and I get in line, and this is the best part. As we're leaving, because we carpooled down there, my dad's like, as he always does, you got everything? I'm like, yeah, I got it. Of course. Of course. Yeah, I got my phone. I got my wallet. My ID's always in my wallet. It's never not in my wallet. Yeah, I got everything. It's fine. We get to the airport. I'm getting in line to security. My ID is nowhere to be found in my wallet. Like, absolutely nowhere to be found. I go through my whole wallet, nothing. And I got this, like, money clip right here. I went through every single pocket, nothing. It's not in my pockets. It's nowhere in my backpack. I literally, like, slouched down the fetal position, was like, what am I going to do? My mom was already driving back. I had to call her and be like, can you get my passport and bring it down? I have no idea where my ID is. It could have fallen out in my car. It could have fallen out my dad. It could have been anywhere. I still have yet to this day have found that ID. And what I think what happened is when I was getting gas that afternoon at Costco.
I fell out while you're...
Well, I pulled my credit card out, my Costco card out. I'm on the phone with somebody at the same time.
Wait,
it must have fallen out.
You're on your phone while pumping gas?
I didn't blow up, dude. It's fine.
Well, I could see that. That's not a game you play, though.
I had my headphones in.
Oh, okay. You weren't
I'm
like actually... Okay. Fair enough.
So I'm distracted. I'm talking on the phone, pumping the gas. It must have fallen out. And that's honestly happened before because it like gets stuck together and stuff like that. So it falls out. And I'm sitting there going like, oh my God. What am I going to do? So I'm playing the game. Like we have the, I'm sure Woods is going to have his, I don't know how many of the morning show guys have it with their kids. I have the Life 360 app. Our family's got it. My sister lives in a different state. Make sure she's, we know where she's at and everything like that. I think it's great for if I need a ride for my parents because when I get back from the airport, my mom always likes to go like, hey, I'm on my way. And you look like, still haven't left the house yet. So it looks like I'm gonna post up for a little bit. But anyway, so I am tracking my mom driving to the house that has my passport and back to the airport. And I told my dad, I'm like, just go through. Like, well, I'll figure it out. And I was like, and we're counting now. I had like 40 minutes to get this done. So she had to drive back up to Scripps Ranch, get the passport, come back down to the airport. I'm just sweating it through. Security line at the time that I originally got there was like around the building.
Oof.
And I'm like, oh my God. And then I remembered, I was like, well, all these flights are leaving at the exact same time. This is probably everybody at once.
Yeah.
As soon as my mom comes back with the passport, there's nobody in line. I literally walk through and I get on the plane like 5 minutes before they close the door. Meanwhile, I'm texting my buddy. He's like, are you kidding me right now? You're not going to make it? Like, because he's supposed to pick us up in Dallas after he's been there for 2 days. That was a rough time.
See, that was someone telling you, see, you dope you. I'm going to make you sweat this one out, but you'll get through, but I'm going to give you a heart attack first. One time, my mom did the exact same thing. I've only been on one cruise in my life. Like my grandfather, it was kind of like the last time with my grandfather where he was like full before he started to get dementia and everything like that. So it was kind of, and you were starting to see some of the symptoms of it. So we went and we decided to go on a cruise as a family. Yeah. I was in like 4th grade, whatever like that. And you had to have, like, we had to have birth certificates because we're going to Mexico. We had to have birth certificates with the kids in order to make this trip. And my mom forgot to get them. Oof. And so she had to go to the city building. What's the build? City Hall?
City, yeah. It's the one that's You just have those they have like boots in the park
city,
outside of it.
Yeah, the
whatever.
city clerk, yeah.
So and it's not far from the marina. She's like in line there, like trying to get the birth certificates, and we're waiting like outside the ship as everybody's on it. Waiting for her to get these births. She like makes it by like 10 minutes.
Start hearing the Jeopardy music in your head.
Yeah. And there's like some times where my dad's like, you know what? Like, I hope she misses it one time just to like, because she's always kind of like, it's like last minute stuff. And the funny thing is my buddy Matt that was on the trip with us to Texas, he is like, I'm getting to the airport 8 hours for the flight. Guy, my mom is, and she used to be a flight attendant, so she kind of like knows the secrets and stuff. So it gives her this false sense of confidence sometimes when it comes to flying. She's like, I'm walking through security as they're calling the first group to get on the plane.
Oh, dear God.
We have done a couple of trips in which he has come with us. I mean, me and my dad and stuff like that are more in between the two. But we weren't as stressed because we understood the situation that was about to happen. My buddy Matt was like, he was ready to just, I don't know, just go ape you know what at the airport multiple times. I'm like, brother, you're going to have to travel on your own in these particular groups because you never know what might happen traveling with my mom.
Yeah, no, I would lose it. I'm sorry. She sounds like a really nice lady, and I hope to meet her one day, but I could never. I couldn't do that.
Oh, man. So hopefully we'll get the update. Hopefully my buddy's dad has made his flight and he doesn't have to worry about this. But the phone thing, I mean, somebody in the chat said I'm leaving out my phone. But like, what happens when you get... We're talking about a 60-something-year-old man traveling on his own. I'm sure he's got all his reservations saved on his phone. Is he going to have to go, like, find a computer somewhere? I mean, just, I don't know how you do it. If I had to, and I was prepared ahead of time, I probably could do it. But I don't know if I could leave my phone at my house and not, and travel without my phone. Could you travel without your phone?
No, I could not. I'd like to think I could, but within the first 5 seconds, I'd be like, I want to look at reels, and I am not going to be happy until I do.
That's the reason?
Well, that's to pass the time. To go to New York is a 6-hour flight. I could really melt my brain in that time.
I might miss a flight. There was another situation that I know somebody forgot their phone. He could have made it throughout the day without his phone. We'll talk about it when we come back. The Braden Surprenant Show, filling in for Ben and Woods, San Antonio Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. All right, very quickly to just pay off that tease before we get to the sports thread, which is kind of like the Reindl Report. Again, I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. We are the Braden Surprenant Show. We are on every day from 10 to 2 after Ben and Woods. Ben and Woods are in Philadelphia, which means we are filling in for the next couple of days in the mornings. Get your cup of coffee with us on 97 through the Fan. And not only are we moving up a time slot for the next 4 days, Gwyn and Chris are moving up a time slot for the next 3 days. So Gwyn and Chris will have the midday show today. They're going 10 to 2:30. You know, an extended Gwyn and Chris. How about that? How about that? Gwyn and Chris, who get preempted by Padres baseball and NFL football and all this stuff, all these short shows, have a 4 hour and 30-minute show.
I was going to say, now they have to go long for Padre baseball.
Are they going to be able to make it? Are they going to be able to make it? Wow. I don't know if they can make it. They might have to play Chris's Fantabulous Game Show or whatever the heck it's called 3 times in the day. Maybe the last 30 minutes is the Scraby Show. Scraby should just take over the last 30 minutes, leading into Sam Levitt and the Equawater SoCal Padres pregame show. Early baseball today, obviously, because the Padres are in Philadelphia. So we got some. What time's the game start today? 4:30.
3:30.
Wow,
3:35
start, which means we got a 2:35 Equawater SoCal Padres pregame show. So we're on the next couple of days. If you like what you hear, you can listen to us every day from 10 to 2. You can also subscribe to our podcast page wherever you get your podcast. Please do that. Follow us on the Odyssey app if you haven't done so already. Give us a like on the YouTube page, and please follow us on social media at @B_SURP. Follow me at BSurp. You can follow Frank or Italian Paul to a lot of you out there. FMarks324, MARKZ for Marks, and follow the BSurp show, B_SURP show on social media. We're even repping our new shirts for OTL. I got the pink one on. Frank's got the blue one on. I got brown and gold Padre ones coming in on Wednesday. You're going to like those.
I'm sure I will.
You're definitely going to like those. And again, if you want some, let me know. We like handing them out here on the Braden Surprenant Show. All right, to pay off the tease before we get to our version of the Reindl Report, which is the sports thread. A situation in which I would leave my phone. Now, for a flight, no, I'm not traveling on my phone. I'm not going to a place I do not know without my phone. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I can't do that. If you think you could do that, fine. I saw people go like, why don't you just take a picture of all this other stuff? Where am I going to hold my... What are you talking about? You need your phone for a lot more things than you think. A couple of years ago, I got a friend, she works for Disney. She sells ads for ESPN, essentially. So she works for Disney, and it's like all those ads you see on ESPN and some of the Disney networks, she helps sell. And when you work for Disney, you get a lot of perks of going to Disneyland. So a couple of us went with her to Disneyland. It's great, by the way. Going to Disneyland with a Disney employee, are you kidding me? It's like everything's like free. Parking was free. All the food was like, I think the food was free. The drinks were like 40% off if you got alcohol. You had to pay for alcohol. It was like the only thing you had to pay for. Everything else was like free. Tickets were free. All that stuff was free. It was ridiculous. But anyway, we all met at my house. My buddy's friend, David, he had a nice night the night before. He was a little hungover. I've told this story before on my show. I don't know if you have just heard the Braden Surprenant show. We've told this story before. I don't think Frank's heard this story.
I have not.
He was a little hungover. You could tell. The guy's wearing sunglasses at like 7 in the morning.
Attaboy.
And the hood was on. The guy was rough, right? Guy was rough. He came with my friend Matt. Get in the car. Everything's like that. You know, he's half asleep, dude. He's like sitting in the middle. He's like knocked out. We're driving from Scripps Ranch to Disneyland. So we go 56 across instead of taking the 78. We're getting from the 56 onto the 5. And again, we wanted to get there early to take on the free day, right? Free day. So we're getting on the 5. He's starting to come to as we're driving past the fairgrounds. And starting to come to and wake up and everything like that. He's just like, oh, I might as well go on my phone. And now, this is an NFL Sunday. This is an NFL Sunday. The guy's a degenerate gambler.
Oh, no.
He's looking for his phone.
Oh.
He does not have his phone. His phone is in my friend's car. Outside my house in Scripps Ranch. We are now at Manchester on Interstate 5.
That's like right after the split, right? Right where the 5 and the 805 meet.
Oh, no, we're way past that. Manchester's up by like Encinitas. We're almost to like close to the halfway point of.
Oh! I thought you meant like
there.
Manchester Avenue. Sorry.
No. Manchester, yeah, up in Encinitas. And he's like, I need my phone. And I'll give you credit. My friend Kira, who was driving, was like, well, I ain't turning around for it. We've gone way too far. And I was like, I'm glad she said it and none of us had to do a vote like Survivor. Because we were about to vote him off the island. Just kick him outside on the side of the road. So he comes up with this great idea. His parents used to live in Scripps Ranch. They then had moved to Orange County. His dad's a CHP officer. His dad is a traditional, like, discipline CHP officer guy. You got a picture of what this man might be?
Yeah.
Okay. He's a nice guy, but he decides to call his dad. He tried to get his sister's attention. She's out of town, whatever it was.
Oh, boy.
He decides to call his dad. And I'm immediately thinking to myself, if I were to call Mike Surprenant right now about seeing if he can give me a ride from Disneyland down to Scripps Ranch to get my phone because I forgot it, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I immediately thought, Mike Surprenant would say, yeah, I understand all this. How is that my problem exactly? That's what Mike Surprenant would say. So I'm kind of grinning because I'm listening to David's dad speak on the phone, and I'm just like, oh, this is not going to end well. He's on the phone with his dad. His dad's like, okay. And he's like, well, me and your mom are going to go to church, and then I'm going to do this, and maybe after that I could give you a ride to Scripps Ranch, and you could figure it out. And he's like, but maybe. And then again, and then he dropped the whole like, no, I understand, Dave. I understand that you're trying to go to Disneyland and forgot your phone. I don't understand how that's my problem on a Sunday.
Yep.
So he finally convinces his dad. So what happened was,
wait. He actually got his dad.
He had to find a way to his dad's house, and if he got to his dad's house, he would drive him down.
Oh God!
And get the phone. So we get to Disneyland. He has to check in with us, otherwise he doesn't get his ticket, right? Because it's the reservation from the Disney employee. We get through the security, all that stuff. We get to the front, and he has to pull a Grandpa Simpson and like walk through the gate and then walk out, go back to the tram, get dropped off at the Uber pickup at downtown Disney. He Ubers down to Mission Viejo where his parents' house is, meets up with his dad who came home from church. His dad drives him down to Scripps Ranch, drives out of Scripps Ranch with my buddy's keys, goes outside my house, goes into his buddy's car, grabs his phone, gets back in the car with his dad, and drives back north towards Disneyland.
And by this time, you guys are ready to leave because it's been all day.
We've been like all day having a great time, right? You know, just at Disneyland, doing our thing, whatever. And I'm like, dude, like, it's almost like 5 o'clock. We've heard nothing from Dave since 5 o'clock. I mean, at this point, what's the point, right? Like, what's even the point of coming? He finally gets there at like 6 or 7. We don't even care. I mean, we're there for free. I spent, and it's a Hopper, I think it was a Hopper pass. I spent $20 all day. I'm like, this is great. I don't have to spend any money at Disneyland. This is awesome. So we don't really care. And he gets up there, and you find out his dad was going to make it rough.
Good.
His dad stops at the CHP office in San Onofre where he knows all his buddies. Like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. So he goes and he hangs out with his buddies for an hour and a half at the CHP office in San Onofre with Dave just sitting in his car. And Dave only needed his phone that day so he could make daily fantasy bets and keep track of his fantasy team. I'm like, brother, you could have made it without your phone all day long. All day long. That would be a situation I can make it through the day without my phone.
I mean, there's only one thing I can think to do here, and that's
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, play at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
That's the only thing I can think to do.
Is that a foul, Frank?
On your friend?
Yeah.
There's not a foul.
That's a T right there.
Yeah, that we don't have a sounder for that one.
How about that for a story?
You want to
Not
talk
having
about
your phone?
You want to talk? You said it right. Degenerate gambler. You were 100% bang on the nose with that.
Juan Ruiz. Petty dad moments are just part of growing up.
To be fair, though, your friend earned it.
I agree.
Your friend earned every second that he was sitting in the car.
I can't believe Dave's dad decided to do that. And at some point, he was like, talking to him, and I forgot what he asked him, but Dave's dad was like, I don't know. I didn't envision driving to Scripps Ranch on my Sunday off to get your phone. So not only did they do the CHP thing, he went down memory lane too and like went and checked out their old house and all this other stuff.
Good.
Hilarious. What's going on in the sports world aside from the San Diego Padres? Frank will fill us in with the sports thread when we come back. Braden Surprenant, Frank Marchese filling in for Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
To fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Good morning to all of you out there. If you're on your morning commute to work, if you had the day off, I don't know why you would. Maybe you got the whole week off. Braden Surprenant Show, live and local, each and every day from 10 to 2. We're filling in for Ben and Woods the next couple of days. Frank Marchese, myself, Braden Surprenant. If you're new to our show, like I mentioned, every single day we are on right after Ben and Woods from 10 to 2, leading into Gwynn and Chris. This week, Ben and Woods are in Philly on vacation. All of them, they wanted to do a show trip together, which is, I think, is a great idea. And so they're in Philadelphia for the next 3 days, watch Pods take on the Phillies. I think they're trying to work on something in terms of a meetup at Citizens Bank Park. If anybody is listening to us right now on the Odyssey app or watching on YouTube in Philly for the series, I think they're doing a meetup. They're trying to do one in the fourth inning or something like that. I saw on social media. If not, go check out their social media handles on social. For us, if you haven't done so already, give us a like on the YouTube page. It really helps us push out our product. Also, give us a follow on social media at B_SURP, at FMarks324, at Frank Marchese, FMarks324. That's Frank Marchese's social media, as well as our show Twitter at B_SURP show. I have my social media handles are all the same at B_SURP. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. You can also subscribe to our YouTube page, which is different than 97.3 The Fans. You can watch on there as well. Just to get some of the housekeeping things out of the way. Again, we are going to be on for this week to Thursday, because everybody's off Friday for the 4th of July, in the morning slot. Gwynn and Chris will be on after us. So Gwynn and Chris will be on from 10 to 2. So anybody that's, might be used to listening to the Braden Surprenant Show at 10 in the morning, it will be Gwynn and Chris this week for the first couple of days. Thursday, you got 8 hours of us. Frank and I are locking in for 8 hours. We're ready to go. But that being said, we're talking a lot of Padres baseball. In the last hour, we talked about some things that involve some travel and leaving your phone and everything like that. We're going to get to this mailbag that Dennis Lynn put together. There's some interesting questions that we would like to answer. But before we go any further, it's time for our edition, our version of the Reindl Report. It's Italian Paul. His name's Frank Marchese, and he's got a sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All righty. So let's get this going today here. We'll start off with that. Now getting to, there we go. NBA free agency is in full swing, and a lot of moves were made yesterday involving big names. LeBron James will stay with the Lakers as he opts into his $52.6 million contract.
So much money.
Julius Randle signed a $100 million contract to stay in Minnesota. Jalen Williams and A.J. Mitchell will stay with the reigning defending champion, Oklahoma City Thunder. Eric Gordon elects free agency instead of playing another minute in Philadelphia. Bobby Portis signs a $44 million deal with Milwaukee. James Harden gets a 2-year deal with the Clippers for $81 million. And Malik Beasley gets added to a federal investigation into gambling. What do you think so far of the big names staying with their current teams instead of trying to form super teams as they did in the past?
It's very interesting. That's not something that usually ever happens in the NBA. Maybe it's going to set a precedent, try to keep some of the stars spread out amongst the league, albeit with some bad ratings in the last couple of years for the NBA. I like it better when guys stay on teams and you can identify those teams with certain players. They're all getting raises. I mean, a lot of these opt-outs lead into re-signings, but most exciting time of the year for the NBA, the offseason. This is when they're the most exciting with all the moves and stuff that they've made.
Yeah, they've been really going crazy as of late here. I believe I saw somebody else. Jabari Smith got a contract as well, 5 years, $122 million. That was last night also, but it was after I wrote that, and I wasn't going back in to edit it.
And nobody cares.
Exactly.
So you're okay.
Number 2.
There was a touching moment on Friday night at the NHL draft that many of you may have missed. The New York Islanders selected defenseman Matthew Schaefer with the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And the Islanders took a little bit of extra time to make a special moment just that much more. Matthew Schaefer's mother, Jennifer Schaefer, lost her battle with breast cancer last year. The Islanders took their draft jersey and embroidered a pink cancer ribbon on the chest with a JS on the inside of the collar. Matthews was visibly emotional and kissed the ribbon while on stage. Should more teams take the small effort it takes to do stuff like this for its players and draft picks?
Yes, they should. It's a nice little touching moment right there. I think it goes a long way to show that the organization is, bringing you into a family situation, and there's a lot of things that are bigger than sports, which is super cool. That was a very touching moment, very cool for the NHL. Other NHL draft stuff, though, of course, with my Anaheim Ducks. They got a new player named Lightning.
The Ducks
new
are going
nickname.
The Ducks are going to have the number 1 selling jersey this year, I promise.
I might have to get one.
Roger McQueen, drafted by the Ducks, just a stone's throw away from Disneyland, and takes number 95.
They flew him to Disney so fast when he arrived in Anaheim to meet Lightning McQueen for some serious publicity. I hope he ends up being the best guy ever, because the Ducks need it. They traded Zegras. They let Gibson go. I mean, they've been between a rock and a hard place ever since that core group of Getzlaf and Kessler, even though they brought him in from Vancouver, and Corey Perry was like the control. I thought this rebuild was going to be a lot faster. It's continuing to take a little bit more time than probably it needed to, but they got better last year, and when they get better, the goals get better, and he might be, who knows? Maybe you'll see him in San Diego soon, Roger McQueen.
Yeah, we'll be seeing a lot of those kids actually in San Diego, most likely for this upcoming season.
So
Number 3.
Antennas perked up on Wednesday when Luis Robert Jr. was taken out of a game in the first inning without a known reason.
Oh, trade watch.
Yes, Robert has been in
Hug watch
multiple
in the
trade
dugout.
rumors, and speculation started to swirl before it was announced that he just had a pulled hamstring.
Not great, Bob.
Yesterday, we found out that the hamstring pull will require a stint on the IL. Robert is hitting 185 this season with 8 homers and 32 RBIs. Has your interest in trading for Luis Robert Jr. changed now that he's on the IL with a hammy issue?
No, because I still think even if he had a good hamstring, it would immediately be. You're still rolling the dice. You're hoping he become the player that he used to be if you get him out of Chicago. He's going to be like free at the deadline. I think the White Sox would just give him away. And the thing is, I don't think a lot of people are going to be asking for him either. You might be able to get him for nothing and just be like, well, I hope it works out. But if you're not giving up anything for him, then sure, go ahead. But if your only move, you're the Padres, your only move in the trade deadline is him, you're in some serious trouble. If you want to take a chance on him, fine, but you better bring in like 2 to 3 other bats while you do it. He's just hard pass. He's a rental too. It's a $20 million club option that nobody's going to take.
Now, granted, I knew he wasn't having a great season, but it hasn't been my week to watch the White Sox in a while. The fact that he was hitting a $185, that's not good.
Not great.
That's worse than I thought he was doing. You guys thought you hated Xander Bogaerts. Wait until this guy gets into a Padre uniform, continues to hit this way.
Just to clarify, because people they got to pay his whole contract. They don't have to pay anything. They got to pay 40% of what he's making this year because the White Sox would have paid the 60% of the season.
Yep.
And then there's a club option that they're not going to take. They're just be like, see ya. And they'll let him walk instead of paying him $20 million. So he's only a rental. He's got to go away for free. Like the White Sox are just going to let him walk at the end of the year anyway. So you either get something for him or you just let him walk at the end of the year. But there's not a lot of trade value there for the White Sox and Luis Robert Jr.
Nope, there is not. And if you're going to trade for him, you really have to hope he's not trying because he's playing on the White Sox. That's really your only hope.
Number 4.
While stadium talks are going well in Arizona for the Diamondbacks, things are not going as well in Kansas City, Kansas. The Chiefs have asked for an extension to the end of June deadline for Kansas to pass a stadium financing bill.
So they can move to the other side of the river?
Yes, leading to speculation that the Chiefs will be looking to move to Kansas City, Missouri. In a letter leaked to the AP, Chiefs President Mark Donovan said of Kansas's efforts that he is happy with the progress made, but needs more time to, quote, bring the effort to full fruition. Which side of Kansas City do you think the Chiefs will end up landing on?
Don't they currently play in Missouri?
No, they play in Kansas.
Are we sure?
I'm positive.
We're sure about that.
I looked it up about 15 times.
They play in Kansas City, Kansas?
Yes.
I thought they played in Kansas City, Missouri.
I thought it was.
I swear they played in Missouri.
All right, so Adam corrected me.
I think the state of Kansas wants them on the Kansas
side. So
Kansas
wants them back. Kansas wants them. Missouri looking to keep them. Kansas is looking good to bring them back. Missouri looking to keep them. I don't know how many more times I could say that. Which side of the river do you think they're going to be on?
You're getting grilled right now. Poor Frank, dude.
I know, I'm stupid.
You know what? It's early. It's an early morning show. You're not even supposed to be fully functional for another 2 hours.
It's no kidding.
Technically, 3 on bad days. Three when you're lucky. I don't know. To me, it's like if the state of Kansas wants to subsidize a bunch of stuff for a professional organization that's worth tons of money to move to their side of the river, then they're going to make it happen. And the thing is the Chiefs and really the Royals too, they're just going to be in whatever state buys them a new facility. And if it's going to be Kansas, then Kansas will do it. If it's going to be Missouri, then Missouri does it. Is there much of a difference between Kansas and Missouri? I guess there's more trees in Missouri. They're both places that you fly over. I mean, they're in flyover states. I feel like Missouri probably gets it done. But
to Dub J and Metal Media in the chat, to answer your question, who cares? Me, because I needed to fill this segment.
Number 5.
Where do they play now? Do we all know? We're on the same page here.
They play in Kansas City.
You're not wrong there.
Jim Harbaugh might be entering his second season with the LA Chargers, But man can't help but keep getting in trouble in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Keeps getting sued.
Harbaugh has been added to a hacking lawsuit filed against one of his former assistants. The suit claims that former assistant coach Matt Weiss was hacking into the computer accounts of college athletes across the country looking for intimate photos. Good job not looking like a perv at work. Harbaugh was added to the claim because the attorney claims Harbaugh knew of this and did nothing. I guess the only question here would be, why are people the way that they are?
Why are people the way that they are? What are you talking about? Like, why are they suing
Like,
him?
why is Matt Weiss doing what he's doing?
Don't ask those questions. You don't want to get down to the. It's all bad.
Isn't the guy like 65? Like, what are you
I don't know how old
doing,
Matt
man?
Weiss is.
How did you learn to hack into a computer in the first place?
Coding, I guess. I don't know. People do it. People like hacking. You watch Jurassic Park?
A 60-plus-year-old man learned how to hack.
How's Harbaugh involved with this?
Because he just let Weiss do it. He knew it happened, and Weiss he didn't discipline Weiss at all.
No, he knew that. Weiss. Do you think Harbaugh knows what hacking is?
I'm sure he knows now.
Well, yeah. His lawyers probably told him what it is, but I don't know. I don't know why people are why they are. It's too early for a question like that. I don't know why people.
It's too early to be awake.
The Chiefs play Missouri, Frank.
So I've heard. So I have heard.
Can we add that to the flub list for Bennett Woods?
I'm an idiot.
That's
know
a foul,
this.
by the way. That needs to be a foul.
Right.
He draws the foul.
Harbaugh is a hack. From Brutus Fan 619. Take that for what it's worth.
There you go. We're not breaking any new ground with the I'm an idiot allegations. I already knew that. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to show me. You don't have to say it in chat.
Adam was on your ass so fast.
I know, and he should have known that he hired an idiot too. Tell me about some of your past experiences, Frank. I would rather not. I really want this job.
No. It happens, dude. It's a simple thing. But where you doubled down though. That's what really, as we said, he said he was positive.
You know what? I did say I was positive.
I'm getting all these texts now, Frank. Because people going like, the Chiefs play in Missouri. I'm like, I know that.
Because
I know they do. That's why I was
read the article about 20 times. Apparently, my reading comprehension skills have gone down a little bit since I took the PSATs.
You still have those?
I guess. I don't know. I know I didn't take the SATs.
I had to take all those. I think they still have to do the PSATs. That's like a day during the fall that whatever.
The reason why I didn't take the SATs is because I thought it was like the PSATs where we all had to do it at once, and I was just waiting on that day, and it never came. That was why I never took the SATs.
I took the SAT after playing in a football game and getting a concussion. I didn't really get a great score. Wasn't great. But
okay, all right, guys, really?
Oh no,
Ricky, I know the Padres play in San Diego County at Petco Park.
Here it comes.
I know it. I know.
Here it comes. Where do the Cowboys play?
Hell, hopefully.
Oh, okay, here we go. Where do the Giants play? They play in New York, Frank?
No, I know they play in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
First flub of the week. Foul. First personal, first team foul. If he fouls out, he can leave. So then I'm stuck here with.
So I don't know.
myself.
So then why do I stay here? Why do I not just foul out in the first 5 minutes, especially this week?
Because Adam would be thrown. When you foul out, you get suspended for.
Oh, that's right.
For that time, I'll shoot free throws. We should get one of those little Papa shots and shoot a free throw every time they foul. I will do that if the chat fouls and we hand out fouls to the chat. I will shoot free throws. Play it again.
I got a new strat. Hold on, I got a new strat. It's the Hack of Frank strat.
Hack of Frank.
He draws the foul.
We'll shoot free throws. I love that sounder. So it's all time just from the movie Fletch. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Do you even know what I'm talking about?
No.
Does anybody under the age of 45 know what I'm talking about when it comes to the movie Fletch with Chevy Chase? You never seen Fletch?
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase, whatever, dude. Where do the Chiefs play, dude? He draws the foul. Such a great movie. Buenos dias, Pup and Taco.
All right, where do the Chiefs play, dude? Is going to be a drop. That's getting cut.
Where do
right
the
now.
Chiefs play, dude? Fletch is a great movie. You've never seen Fletch?
I have not. No.
Oh my god, it's awesome. It's Chevy Chase is a investigative reporter, and he does undercover stuff, and so he's constantly impersonating other people and stuff like that.
Sounds like the perfect role for him to be an ass in, which is
A sarcastic ass.
Which is kind of what he was doing off air too, probably.
Yes,
based on stories.
It's a great movie. You should homework assignment for Frank. That's how, you know what? That's your punishment for fouling. You have to go watch Fletch. I don't even know where you could find Fletch. I have it on DVD somewhere in my house. We were watching Fletch during the Christmas a couple Christmases ago. It's not a Christmas movie, but it was just we had it. My brother wanted to watch it.
Well, is it not a Christmas movie because it's genuinely not a Christmas movie?
It's not a
or is it not a Christmas movie in the same way Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie?
It's not even related to Die Hard. We just happened to be everybody was home for the holidays, and so he wanted to watch the movie.
Okay. Fair enough.
And so he watched it. But like the thing is everybody kept falling asleep because it was late at night. And so, but I loved the movie, so I watched it through every time. So I watched that movie 3 nights in a row. Completely on accent. And every time I was like, okay, I'd finish the movie out, and then we'd have to restart to where they went to bed at the next time, and then I finished the movie out, and then went back and then finished the movie out. I've seen the ending of that movie probably 1,000 times now. Thanks for the sports thread. If you learned anything out of the sports thread today, we all now know where the Kansas City Chiefs and the Kansas City Royals play, what state they play in.
And Prolific the Great has handed down my punishment. He says I need to watch Fletch while I'm at Craft Taco.
Yes! We'll ask Frank if he's been to Craft Taco when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show in for Ben and Woods, San Diego Sports Station 96 The Fan. All you guys need to leave Frank alone. Need to leave Frank alone. All right? Need to leave Frank alone. Anyway. You're not even back on. What's going on? Oh, man. Look what you guys did. We had like 3 people call in and tell Frank that the Chiefs play in Missouri. In fact, he answered the phone. This is Frank Marchese. I know the Chiefs play in Missouri. But here's
Chiefs
where
play in Missouri.
Here's where
Royals play in Missouri too.
That's true. But we do know on the Braden Surprenant show that Frank Marchese is a big racing fan.
Yes.
And a big soccer fan.
Racing fan. Soccer, yes. You're my best Rain Man impression.
Guess where those Kansas City teams play? Team and racetrack are.
Kansas.
They're in Kansas. Easy mistake. Guy's always locked in on racing. He's always locked in on the MLS. Why wouldn't he not think?
And I don't care about the NFL, so why would I care where the Chiefs play?
True. Now, and why would he care about the team that beat him in the World Series? Right? Right? Was that too far?
I'm fouling myself out at this point. I'm going home.
Was that a foul?
I'm going home.
Was that too far?
That was unnecessary.
Adam brings up a good point. The situation was made worse when you doubled down, said you were positive, and you read the article 100 times.
I did, but I forgot that I'm stupid. I didn't take into account that I'm an idiot.
Go ask text in the chat. Taking his mic swing and going home. You know what, Frank? They don't boo nobodies.
Exactly
That's
right.
right. Nobody punches down, Frank. So that's what we have there. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. When we come back, we got questions to answer in the Padres Mail Bag. Braden Surprenant Show filling in for Ben and Woods with Gwynn and Chris coming up next at 10 in the morning on San Diego One Sports Station 97.2 The Fan. 8:35 on a Monday morning. Braden Surprenant filling in for Ben and Woods with Frank Marchese, our esteemed producer here on the Braden Surprenant Show. We are usually on from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every single day. We're on after Ben and Woods every single day. Ben and Woods are in Philadelphia on a group vacation, a show vacation, as they're going to enjoy the 3 games in Philadelphia. And during this week off that they have, we got bumped up to the morning show. And Gwen and Chris are going to be on after us at 10 in the morning and have the midday show. So we'll be on from 6 to 10 for the next couple of days. Gwen and Chris will be on from 10 to 2:30. And then Sam Levitt will take over at 2:30 for the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show leading you into Padres baseball. So we're still local all day. Just a little bit of a hat shuffle with Ben and Woods out. So if you are new to us, if you like what you hear, you can hear us every single day at 10 in the morning. If you're watching us on YouTube, we just put our handle on there where you can follow us on social media. Follow the show at B_Surp Show, SURPSHOW. You can follow me personally at B_SURP. Follow me on social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. You can also subscribe to my YouTube page at the same handle. If you look for us on YouTube at B_SURP, you will find the Braden Surprenant Show channel as well. You can follow all of our stuff at 97 Through the Fan SD. And if you want to follow Frank, Frank's a good follow. He is a great follow. You can follow him at FMarks, MARKZ, 324 on social media as well. Again, we're going to be here the rest of the week in the morning slot, a little bit of a different time for us. But if you like what you hear, if you missed any of the show, you can go back and watch on YouTube. You can listen on the Odyssey app. Or if you miss any of the Braden Surprenant Show, you want to listen back in podcast form, all of our shows are on podcast form. Wherever you get your podcasts, it could be Spotify, Apple Music, on the Odyssey app. Follow us there. Give us a like there. Subscribe to us there. It costs you nothing. And we will have our stuff easily accessible to you so you can listen whenever you want to listen to our show. We really appreciate you guys being with us today. We appreciate your phone calls too. On my show, I take a lot of phone calls, want to hear from the fans, want to hear what the fans are thinking, the pulse of the fans of the San Diego Padres. We're going to get to some of that with the Padres Mail Bag that Dennis Lynn had. We're going to answer some of the questions that Dennis was asked that makes sense that we can answer. But before we do that, we're going to get to the phones. John in Carlsbad, local San Diegan, born and raised, joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, John?
Hey, Braden. How you doing? I've been wanting to talk to you about this for a minute here. I kind of want to, by the way, Frank did answer the phone. I know the Chiefs play in Missouri, and I just wanted to, mention that the San Diego Chargers play in L.A.
That is the best answer we have gotten on the bit now of where the Chiefs
Carson,
play.
Actually.
Not anymore. Oh, not anymore. They play at Inglewood. God, read a map, Frank. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. All right, John, back to
So I wanted to talk to you about this for a minute because I'm born and raised San Diegan. I got some mileage on you. I'm 57, so I've been a Padre fan my whole life. And this Xander Bogaerts thing, I kind of want to everyone has their reasons why, it just the whole situation bothers them. But for me, it was the fact that not only did we not need him when AJ picked him up, but Matt Olson was available. We had just gotten Bob, if you will remember, we had just gotten Bob Melvin, and Matt Olson was available. And every single time the Padres play the Braves, and that guy comes up to the plate, I tell my wife, that guy could have been in a San Diego Padre uniform, and we could have used him. And, Xander, I still think could be a very solid, good player if he would just stop lunging for the baseball every time he swings. I mean, he went on that streak a little while ago, and I still think he has the ability to be a solid player. But, the fact that we didn't need him, and I think AJ had other options is the real sticking point for me when it comes to Xander.
Well, AJ did have other options, but the ownership really wanted Xander Bogaerts. They wanted to make a splash. They wanted one of the shortstops, especially when they missed out on Judge and they missed out on Turner. There was a lot more influence than just AJ Preller in that particular sense. So, there was a lot of play there. There was obviously, and you talk about what the situation was at hand of Peter Seidler and everything like that, and they wanted to make a splash. They wanted to win. And so they decided on Xander Bogaerts to be a piece. But you're right. I mean, they didn't need him. They definitely didn't need him. They had Fernando at shortstop, potentially. They had other options at shortstop coming up with Jackson Merrill. They didn't need him. But at the same time, again, it's just, it's just like my argument against this. That's a good phone call by John. Well, my argument again is it's not, he wasn't asked to come here. He wasn't forced to come here, I should say. They asked him to come. They gave him a lot of money. He signed, as he would. And he's here. So it is what it is. And they were just trying to make a big splash. And unfortunately, he was the third best option for them at the time. That's what they thought. And the other thing, too, the scouts, a lot of the scouts in what Xander Bogaerts did in Boston, they praised the guy. This guy is one of the best players we've seen. He works hard. He's one of those leaders in Boston. The guy always produces, and right now he hasn't done that in a San Diego Padres uniform. Starting to get a little bit better. But again, he's not living up to the number of the contract that they wanted him to live up to. But I agree. You could play the hindsight game as much as you want. It would have been better to have, maybe Matt Olson than this guy. It would have been, it would have been better to have Trey Turner. I would have been have Aaron Judge. They offered a lot of money for Aaron Judge. But sometimes you end up getting your third option. So there are a lot of things at play there that weren't just decisions and stuff. But I get it. It's a good phone call by John. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Davis in San Diego, you're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, Davis?
Hey, I was thinking of potential trade candidates for the Padres, and I think at catcher we could definitely use improvement, and a guy like Sean Murphy would be great, especially since he's splitting time with Drake Baldwin in Atlanta. So he'd just bring middle of lineup pop and kind of just help out a lot with lineup depth.
Well, Sean Murphy, a situation, I like what you're thinking. Davis, I appreciate the phone call, man. If you look at, Sean Murphy's owed some money. That's, and he's hurt a lot. That's kind of the problem with adding potentially Sean Murphy. The other thing, too, with the Atlanta Braves is and there was an article on this on MLB.com by Mark Feinsand. They're not really looking in the department of selling. And they might be trying to buy. So who knows? Maybe a little buy and sell. But the thing with Sean Murphy, we talked about Sean Murphy last week, Davis, on the Braden on our show and our time slot. He's 30 years old. He's owed $15 million a year. The rest of this year, you only have to pay 40% of that. He's owed $15 million in 2026. He's owed $15 million in 2027. He's owed $15 million in 2028. And then there's a club option in 2029. He's about to turn 31, so he'll have you'll have him for the 31, 32, 33, and then maybe his 34-year season if you pick up the club option for a guy that has been injury prone. But you know what? It's a good pick. It'd be a good pickup for the next couple of years. And what you could do with Sean Murphy is he could just kind of fill the gap until you get a guy like Ethan Salas up, who is now dealing with an injury, right, that he's been dealing with the last couple of months now and still trying to figure out how to hit, but he's still very young. Like where your head's at, Davis. Thinking outside the box a little bit. We appreciate the phone call. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. There's some questions that Dennis Lynn was asked in his mailbag on Friday. And there was an interesting amount of questions that we do want to answer. We're going to bring Frank back in. God, you had a chance.
Are you sure you want to do that?
You had a chance to redeem yourself, dude. I was just like, oh no.
No, it's fine. I'll just stick my foot in my mouth. That's fine.
He said, Carson. What year are you living in, by the way?
I don't
maybe
know
that's
anymore.
What it is. It's just in the past.
Brother, I don't know anymore.
Oh man.
Like
dang it. He thought you were like, actually, they live
like Tony Fantano in the chat said, what are my thoughts on Poway? Is it East County or North County? I said it may as well be South Bay with me right now. Like that's where I'm at right now.
I felt like that one was going up to Mission Viejo over the weekend. The passing league tournament. One of our coaches lives in Oceanside.
Mm-hmm.
And he always complains about having to drive down and all that stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is probably, what is this, like down the street for you? I mean, Oceanside, isn't that Orange County? I tell you what, any of my friends that live south of the 52, just going to Scripps Ranch, they feel like they're in Orange County. Like, what is it? What am I in Temecula right now? Seems so ridiculously far. Maybe that's the case. All right. Mailbag time. Back to the Padres.
Yes. So
what do we got in terms of questions that we can answer?
So Dennis Lynn had a live Q&A on Friday on The Athletic. So here are some of the questions that came out of that. What are the odds, try not to laugh, that the Padres trade Fernando Tatis Jr. at the deadline if the team falls out of contention, possibly to Boston, for Devers, Abreu, Password, and a top pitching prospect?
No way.
No shot.
No way. No, I mean, like, no way that was asked. There's no way.
There's
no way that was asked.
First question, as a matter of fact.
Was that translated by AI?
I
got to go find this right now. There's no way that's accurate.
It was genuinely the first question.
No, it's sorted by trending. I want to sort it by oldest.
Okay. So that was.
There's no way.
It was the top. It was the top on trending yesterday when I wrote this in.
Okay. It should be trending just for like how crazy that question was.
By the way, there's a Frank M in this chat. It was not me.
Does he know where the Chiefs play? Oh man, that's just gonna. Okay, here it is. Would the Padres consider trading Tatis if they fell out of contention? I'm thinking the Red Sox need a right-handed star and have a ton of cost-controlled left-handed outfielding that could send back, plus a stacked farm system. Is there some sort of potential there? Something like Duran, Abreu, Password, plus a pitching prospect of which the Sox have several who look good but lower minors. Tyler M goes, this would be a bigger surprise than the Devers trade. Dennis Lynn, I tend to agree with Tyler here. Okay. So Duran, Abreu, Password, and a pitching prospect. No, that's not happening.
No, I would agree as well.
I would agree with that. No, they're not trading Tatis, dude. Like, and here's the thing. Like, people are now more susceptible to trading Tatis because he's been in a little bit of a downturn. And it's just so easy to say, but at the same time, it's like, really, you're just gonna just give up on that guy? I mean, seriously, you gave this guy. Remember when we signed the deal? Statue contract.
Guy
goes through a down spurt, and it's always like, hey, time to get rid of him.
I don't think people truly grasp how difficult it is to kind of just put stuff out of your mind when they get on the field.
It's very difficult.
Of course, it's easier said than done. Oh, just leave it. Just leave the off the field stuff off the field. But there's stuff like this lawsuit that he's getting into, and I'm sure, as he mentioned earlier, the him not getting calls on close pitches earlier in the season, I'm sure that didn't help. Fernando's got a lot of stuff. Like, if he needs, honestly, at this point, if he needs a phantom IL stint just to get his head right, give it to him.
The thing with
Bro
Fernando,
needs a break.
The thing with Fernando, and I'm not here to. The thing with Fernando is a lot of his decisions are starting to catch up with him, regardless if they're good or bad. I mean, these are still decisions that he has made, and now they're these are decisions that he had made when he was younger and less mature that are now affecting him after he has matured after the suspension.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us agree that Fernando has matured a lot.
Yes, 100%.
Since first becoming a Padre. I think the way he handled this, finally getting surgery in the offseason after he was suspended for the PED, I think the way that he'd been able to handle himself post-PED suspension coming back and not getting into trouble again. And some of these other things and having to deal with coming back and taking on and being on the road and being heckled by all the fan bases that dislike steroid users as long as they're not on their team.
Yeah, no, bro.
But again,
he needs
like
a break.
A lot of these decisions are coming back to him right now, and people deal with things different ways. And right now, he's not. It's obviously affecting him. But you're right. It's just he has to play an elite game with elite talent, and he's not fully there because of some of these other things, and his body language and other things like that.
Yeah,
and that's something that he's going to have to deal with by himself.
And it looks like he's every time. I'm sure of course, he still does the "I love the fans" thing in right field as he comes out on the field for the first time. But a lot of it just looks like he's going through the motions 9 times out of 10. It's not great. It is not great. Next question. What is a hidden strength of the Padres organization? I can give you Dennis Lynn's answer, but I want to hear yours first.
Hidden strength. I think the hidden strength is I think bullpen is not hidden. I think people know the bullpen's good. So I can't say that. I think the hidden strength is the coaching staff and the team being bought into Mike Shildt. I think the hidden strength is some things that are not on the field. I think the way that they play together and the way they're bought in is a hidden strength in finding ways to win when they're not playing well. They're winning more baseball games than they should. They are. I mean, the way they've been playing for the last 2 months has not been good. And yet here they are, still in contention. Here they are, 7 games above 500. They've treaded water in that 26 games in 27 days. And a lot of the time, because a couple of weeks of that, I was not even in the country. I was following from afar. They were winning games. I go read the box score and be like, how did they win?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think their hidden strength is the buy-in that they have with Mike Shildt and just playing together, some hard-nosed baseball, even though they're not very good at doing so. I think that would be their hidden strength. What did Dennis Lynn say?
Definitely a fair answer. Dennis Lynn said these drafting and scouting department.
I would think so.
Yeah, which he's not wrong there either. Because we keep yelling, especially me, about how the Padres just turn out prospects, turn them over, and trade to get assets in. You have to be able to draft those in order to have them to turn them over. So, yeah, I agree with you, and I also agree with Dennis Lynn.
Their top 3 pitchers are out, and they still are staying in the race, as Boats 316 says in the chat. It's 100% true. We don't have much time, so I just kind of want to continue with what you're saying here on this about the drafting and development. Think about it from this perspective. How many times has A.J. Preller flipped the farm system in which he has shipped everybody off and then has retooled it?
Only to do it again.
He's done that at least twice.
Yep.
And right now, even though MLB Pipeline is not giving him any credit, from the reports from Dennis Lynn and from reports that we got before it was even in print, other organizations value this Padres farm system probably more than MLB Pipeline does. And think about from what they traded last year, how many of those guys are having good seasons last year? I'm not talking about the Soto deal. I'm talking about the Arise deal. I'm talking about the Cease deal. I mean, think about those deals they made. How many of those guys are just regretting not being on the team right now? Those are all great prospects, according to MLB Pipeline. So the drafting and developing has been a lot better, and that has been kind of a sneaky benefit. It's a good answer by Dennis Lynn. We'll continue this when we come back to start the final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show on Bennett Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. Let's just say that at like 1 o'clock. We're already done at 10 in the morning, Frank. How about that? We can go have a day like Rod. We should meet Rod for lunch.
Usually when you work from 6 to 10, usually you're getting into the last hour at 9. Yes, I know the Chiefs play in Missouri.
I don't need to say it. There'll be a sounder soon. Should be a foul on you.
Already was.
The Chargers
There's no
one.
double jeopardy here.
You got the Chargers one, man. It was just so funny. John in Carlsbad calls in.
Brother, I'm trying.
The San Diego Chargers play in LA, and you're like, no, they play in Carson. Ah, no. You didn't get a foul. That needs to be a foul.
Oh, fine.
He draws the foul.
John can shoot 2 free throws somewhere. John, find a hoop. Go shoot 2 free throws. Rod's going to Spiro's and Coronado for lunch. You know, this week, Frank, it's a good week to go to Craft Taco.
I'm sure it
yet.
is.
Or have you? Have you been to Craft Taco yet, Frank?
No, I have not.
No, they have not. Yes, Juan, that's the point of the joke, dude. LA Chargers playing. Yes, we understand that. Get the Craft Taco. That's already built-in foul. That's your third of the day.
No, it's my second.
You get one for the Missouri
I've
thing.
played the Sounder 3 times.
Oh, is that the third time?
I played the Sounder 3 times, but the second one was just to hear it again.
All right.
So I got 2. I picked up 5 fouls in 2 days after going a month and a half without a single one.
You're like the enforcer in hockey. Yeah. Hey, foul on Juan in the chat. Sound it.
I am regressing here.
He draws the foul.
Foul on Juan for not understanding the joke about the Craft Taco thing or about the LA Chargers thing. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973.
Go Aztecs just had the best idea.
We should have remote broadcast at Craft Taco. That'd be great. It's a great idea. Only if you come hang out with us, Go Aztecs. Get yourself a taco. They usually sponsor our noon lunchtime hour, so Gwen and Chris will have that. Our baseball coverage is brought to you by T-Mobile. It's presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on iPhone 16 Pro. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Greg in Del Mar wants to weigh in. Greg, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning. Listen, a couple things. I want to talk about trades, and I also want to talk about Fernando's significant fall-off since he got busted for PEDs. I mean, nobody's talking about it, but I mean, it's pretty glaring. But first, I think the biggest trade pieces the Padres have might be in Suarez and Dylan Cease. And obviously those guys would go to a contender, but, you know, Preller might be looking at a 3-way trade with a non-contender in order to make something like that happen. What do you think?
Well, a couple of things. I appreciate the phone call, Greg. I mean, beginning of the season, Fernando didn't look like he had been falling off at a gigantic rate. I mean, would you consider, Frank, the beginning of this year's season for Fernando like a huge drop-off from what he was before PEDs?
No, he was rolling.
He was rolling. So this I think is more mental than anything else. So that's the Fernando thing. In terms of the trade pieces, again, the farm system for the Padres is valued very high by a lot of other organizations. I don't really care what MLB Pipeline says. I care what other organizations think. What those organizations think is what I care about because that's the pieces you're going to have to trade. Those are the pieces. Those are the teams you're going to have to trade with. Now, here's the thing on Dylan Cease. Like, Dylan Cease hasn't had that great of a year. It's been an okay year, and he's a rental. So I don't necessarily know if you're going to get too much out of a rental in Dylan Cease, who has not had a great year. If he wasn't a rental, I think teams would be more optimistic to turn this guy around, and maybe next year will be even better, and we'll see what we got at the end of the season. But for a rental, like when you trade for rentals, they're guys that are playing very, very well. Those are rental pieces. So from that perspective, I don't think so. Same thing with Suarez. Like Suarez is okay, but you never really get a lot out of you never get a lot back in a trade for a closer. You get some back, but not a lot. So, and I don't think they need to part ways with both of those players in order to add players at the dead. I don't think it needs to get that complicated. They got enough in the minor leagues to add at the margins and build out the roster. But I like the phone call. I like where your head's at. And I appreciate you joining us today, Greg and Delmar. Let's talk about some of those other questions in that mailbag, Frank.
Let us do so.
So the last one we talked about was the hidden strength of the Padres organization. Some people said the bullpen in the chat. I don't think that's a hidden strength. I think most people know that the bullpen is very good.
Question number 3. What is the likelihood of the Padres trading Luis Ariz?
I think low. Because I think the Padres value Luis Ariz more than a lot of organizations value Luis Ariz. And I don't think the Padres are going to get anything back in return that's worth trading Luis Ariz instead of just riding it out with Luis Ariz. I would consider it low. What did Dennis Lynn say?
I believe he said the same. He said it's not really in their plans, but I agree with you as well. There's a reason why the guy is on 4 teams already in his career, and he's won 3 batting titles. Because people aren't valuing what he can do and what he can bring. Now, I do think maybe there's a role change that he needs, whether it's a different position, whether it's something. I liked him hitting 4th that Sunday afternoon, but something needs to be done with Luis Ariz here, and I don't think it's a trade.
I don't think it's a trade either. Am I going to give him $15 million a year at the end of the year? Probably not.
No.
I think there is value for Luis Ariz. I just don't think it's the value that a lot of teams see. I think the Padres value him a little bit more than probably a lot of organizations. I think that's going to make it easier for them to potentially bring him back during the offseason and not have to pay a fortune.
Yep.
Just because of that reason. Next question.
Do the Padres keep Sheets in left and target a DH at the deadline like Ozuna from the Braves?
I don't think the Braves are going to sell at the deadline. So I don't think Ozuna from the Braves is going to be going anywhere out of Atlanta. I think it would behove the Padres when they make a deadline deal and make a couple of them that if they do get a bat, if they get a couple of bats, let's say they get a couple of bats, I think they need to be players that could DH and play in the outfield or play another position. I don't think the Padres, and the thing, like David Macias said, he likes Gavin Sheets. He's just a little bit bigger. It's a little bit different for him in the outfield, but he likes Gavin Sheets in the outfield. He calls him a good outfielder. Now, in grand scheme of things, playing in the major leagues, you're going to be a good player. I think for outfield standards, he's probably not your best option to play in the outfield. I'd rather him be a DH. So for me, if you're going to trade for a bat or more than one, I think they need to go get players that can DH and play in the field, at least a different position. So a guy like Osuna from the Braves is not going to be an asset, I think, for the Padres in that. I mean, he would help the Padres out, but I think you need a situation which Sheets can DH a lot, and you can get an outfielder. So I think you got to have a couple of those. A couple of the players need to be able to be versatile.
Dennis Lynn's answer was Sheets has looked better out there since his face first crashed, but the Padres would much prefer to add a left fielder and move Sheets back to being a DH and occasional first baseman. So that was.
So we've been on the
Sheets'
same page almost every answer so far.
More or less.
Some of
yes.
us know ball. Okay, here we go.
What are the chances the Padres retain a combination of Cease, King, and Suarez during the offseason? Not at the deadline, during the offseason.
I think it's like 50-50. And here's why. I think it's because, and the main reason is because Cease and Suarez are not, they have potential holes there, right? Like Cease is not having a good year. Michael King, they value a lot. And Robert Suarez, he's only leaving if he opts out. He might think he can't get the money. He might not think he could get the money that like a top closer gets.
Mm-hmm.
So he might not opt out. I think there's more likelihood of him opting out, but the fact that he's not a walkaway free agent, he has a chance to opt into his contract, I think raises the odds of potentially seeing more than just one of those guys back. I think the fact that Dylan Cease is having at least in his standards, a bad year gives the Padres an opportunity to bring him back on a smaller deal. And I think the fact that the Padres really value Michael King and want him long term obviously brings a situation where they bring back King. So I think King's back. If I had to pick out of the three who's back, I'm putting all my eggs mostly in the in the King basket. I think the Padres re-sign him. I think there's a chance the Padres sign Cease on a little bit lesser of a deal, like kind of a prove-it deal, almost like the deal that
Walker Buehler got.
Yeah, or like Blake Snell with the Giants. Maybe not that kind of level money, but still like something like that where you can bring him back for a year. And I still think there's a slim chance that Suarez doesn't opt out of his deal. I still think he probably opts out. But with all of those, I give it about a 50-50 shot that you got King and one of the other of those two guys coming back in 2026.
Dennis Lynn's response was King's weird injury might have increased the chances of him staying, but for now, I would put those odds at 50-50. Suarez will be 35 next season, and he's had elbow issues in the past. The Padres would be wise to let him explore free agency. And Dylan Cease is a Scott Boras client who every team could use. So in other words, he is almost certainly gone.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't really re-sign him on a big deal anyway, because I don't think he's necessarily going to help anybody.
No, and I think honestly, with what we've seen this year, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
No, I'd let him walk.
The Dodgers destroyed him. Like they broke him, unfortunately. Last question here before we hit the break. How sustainable is the Padres pitching situation if King nor Darvish return anytime soon?
Not very sustainable.
Agreed.
They'd have to get like a Zach Eflin. They'd have to try to finagle one of the Diamondbacks pitchers out of there, or go get a Seth. I like the idea of going to get Seth Lugo back as a rental, but you'd have to go get two pitchers. I mean, right now, if you only get one of these guys back, it'd be nice to add one arm. You could add a fringe arm, and like a Tyler Mahle, right, from Texas, if they decide to sell, or Zach Eflin of Baltimore. But if you don't get either of those guys back, then you definitely got to add multiple starting pitchers and some potential bats. Now, here's the thing. I think if they knew that one of those guys wasn't coming back, they would have been asking around already for starting pitching, which we haven't gotten reports on yet. We are getting good reports from Michael King. Again, it's a nerve thing.
Yeah.
You don't like nerves aren't just like magically fixed. These are things that are mostly pain tolerance, right? So it's going to be a pain tolerance thing for Michael King. I would not be shocked if they don't get Darvish back. I would be shocked if King doesn't come back. But if they don't get King back, yes, it's not sustainable. You can't be rolling Randy Vasquez and Steven Kolek out there in a playoff game. I think both of them have done an exceptional job. And Berger, for that matter. I think all three of them have done an exceptional job in treading water for the Padres and putting the Padres in a position to win night in and night out without having your top couple of starters. I mean, the Padres are missing their top 3 starters in rotation, arguably, right?
Yep.
No Musgrove for the entire year, even though he wants to come back in October. I think that's a mistake if he decides to do that.
Don't even think about it.
We understand Joe wants to do everything for his. We know he's not holding out, but he doesn't need to come back until next year. I would rather have him fresh in 2026. So you're missing him for the season. You don't have Darvish. You don't have Michael King right now. I mean, you got Cease and you got Pivetta. So yeah, you would need to add some pitching, 100%.
And Lynn more or less echoed exactly what you said. And he also put in the added caveat of if these starters can't go deep into games, which you take a look at what Vasquez did through 94 pitches, through 4 1/3. He was getting taken out last week at 64 pitches. Steven Kolek got yanked at 71. So that's putting extra work on the bullpen, which that's not sustainable either. They need their starters, 1, to come back, and 2, to pitch deeper into these games to take some of the stress off of Adam, Suarez, Morejon, Estrada. That's not going to be sustainable either.
And we'll see what Matt Waldron's got. Now, he did well in Philly last year. Maybe the knuckleball plays tonight for the San Diego Padres. They're going to need Matt Waldron to have a deep outing against Philadelphia. A series in which both of us agree. You get a win out of it in Philly, you should be popping champagne because the Padres never do well in Philadelphia. We'll talk more about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Plus, people are asking about my trip to San Clemente. I'll talk about that as well. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on for the next couple of segments. But first, let's take an update on traffic. Little Mac Miller on a Monday morning. Who says no? Mind if we have a day? We should have a week. We need to have a week. We're up to a good start. Well,
I think the copyright claimers might say no, but
it's all right. Well, on YouTube. Everybody else driving around in their cars, getting to work. You only got to get through a couple of days. Friday's off. 4th of July on Friday. Do you have any 4th of July plans, Frank?
I do not. No, we are going to stay in. I know. I think we're making something.
We're making
dinner.
something. Oh,
I don't
we
remember.
should probably
but-
eat. That's always a good thing.
Well, no, because our dinner plans have changed about 40 times already over the last couple of days for 4th of July. So I'm not sure but we're making something. Just what that something is still up in the air.
My I think my 90-something-year-old grandmother's going to come over.
Oh, there
Enjoy
you
the
go.
fireworks. Yeah, good stuff. I don't know what I'm going to grill or smoke on the Traeger yet. But my day on usually the 4th of July starts with going to the Scripps Ranch parade that we've been going to for the last, I don't know how long. And then Padres baseball, I think is at like 3-something that day.
Not sure.
I think it's like a 3. Yeah, they're at home. They played the Rangers on Friday.
I can't see it that small.
I think it's like 3:35 or something.
Yeah, 3:40.
3:40 start.
3:40 against the Rags.
Against the Texas Rangers. A lot of familiar faces in that dugout.
Yep.
Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Booney. Hitting coach for the Rangers now.
So I know one guest we probably won't. We probably shouldn't try to get on.
Oh, Boone.
Yes. So
Good,
I'm sure
let's get Boach on then.
I'm sure this time slot will be all over that.
Yeah, they've already been having him on. People ask how I went to this over the weekend. We had passing league at Mission Viejo. The Dons did. We lost in the silver championship, but again, I don't really care about winning those things. It's more about developing. I thought we looked pretty good. It was really hot. It was hot up there. I underestimated how hot it would be at Mission Viejo High School. So I was not properly prepared. I wore a black light shirt, which didn't work out. It was super hot, but we ended at like 4:00. And so I was like, instead of just rushing to get into traffic, I'm going to enjoy my favorite city in the United States, aside from San Diego. And I went to San Clemente. And I did exactly what I said I was going to do. And that was to go to South Swell. And man, did that hit. I mean, it was a gorgeous day in San Clemente. Gorgeous day. In fact, I think I'm going to share it with you here. Frank's got to flip the screen off on the other stuff. But so I went to San Clemente. It was a gorgeous day. Around 5:00. You can check out the gorgeous day that it was. Beautiful. Down by the pier. Walked around, took some pictures. Went down to the beach. But then I also went to South Swell up there. People were asking about this place. It's a custom make ice cream bar place. I told people before. I got the sprinkles, got the Oreos, little peanut butter drizzle. That hit. Let me tell you, after a long, hot day in the sun, in Mission Viejo, waiting for traffic to die down, consuming one of these babies at South Swell, oh, that was great. I mean, talk about having a Saturday, Frank, huh? Talk about having a Saturday.
Yeah, it's not bad. Looks good, other than the peanut butter drizzle on that.
Toxic drizzle for you. So they had a lot. They had look at these pictures. They have a lot of different things you can put on there. They had cereal. They could put on Fruity Pebbles as one of the toppings. They had pretzels. They had what else? They had cake bites. I think they had cheesecake bites too on there.
There you go.
And the other thing too, like the people in front of me got like a s'mores one.
Okay.
And they put this like marshmallow thing.
Yeah.
I mean, marshmallow is kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
like the puff marshmallow. Like yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then the girl like working she pulls out a blowtorch and roasts the marshmallow on the side of the thing.
That's a
like,
thing.
That That plays. Huh? That plays. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was a great time in San Clemente after the passing league over the weekend. I remember how I forget how dumb passing league is sometimes. I showed up and I was just like, oh, here we go. It's the passing league. 7-on-7 stuff. It gets so irritating sometimes. I told some of the coaches because some of the teams out there were just like arguing about the dumbest things. Like arguing about rules on certain things. And I'm like, if I ever complain about begging for rules or sacks or something like that in this activity that we're doing, somebody please punch me in the face.
You gotta get into mid-season form, man. If your mid-season form is being an ass, then you gotta start working it in, man.
One of the teams
get
out there was just so ridiculous. I was just like, I was literally rubbing my face like this. Like, I can't believe this team is acting the way they're acting. Some Orange County team. It's an Orange County team. It's not even that good, right? That's the other thing too. It's like a lot of it's passing league's very much an equalizer because there's no linemen involved. Like linemen dictate how good teams are all the time. And so you're like, well, I'm just watching this team play, and they're beating us, and they're doing some good things, but they're doing a lot of things that you can't do in football. And I'm just like, okay, we're okay. It's fine. Getting super stoked like you win a Super Bowl after winning games in passing league is such eyewash. You know who I ran into, by the way?
Who did one run into?
I ran into San Diego Charger legend who went to K-State, who is now coaching at Oaks Christian. Played Oaks Christian.
Plays in San Diego with the Chargers.
Played in San Diego with the Chargers. He also played for New Orleans for a little bit of time. He worked out at Fitness Quest 10. That's where I know him from. I've met him a couple of times. Darren Sproles is coaching at Oaks Christian.
There you go.
So Darren's walking off the field. I'm like looking at him, I'm like, this guy looks like Darren Sproles. I mean,
I know you.
And he's giving me this look like I've seen this kid before, but I don't know where from. And so I introduced, I'm like, hey, I'm Braden Surprenant, whatever. And he was like, and I was like, I met you like a long time ago when I was a kid. We're going to fitness. Like, oh yeah, that's right. From Fitness Quest. And so we kind of chatted and stuff like that. But Darren Sproles is a great guy. Great guy. And it's cool that he's coaching high school football. I mean, think about all these former Charger players from San Diego now coaching high school football. Darren Sproles is coaching at Oaks Christian. We know Eric Weddle is coaching at Rancho Bernardo here in town. Phillip Rivers, who's not in town, is in Alabama, is coaching his son in Alabama at St. Michael's. I mean, it's pretty cool seeing all these guys coaching high school football in their local communities. I didn't know Darren Sproles moved, but apparently he's coaching at Oaks Christian, or maybe he's got a kid there or something like that. I don't know. But it's pretty cool to see. And then here's the thing. That's where I'm feeling old now. Is like, and Drew Brees has helped out Santa Fe Christian. And of course there's other pro NFL players that have helped out other schools. I know for a long time, I don't know if they're still there. Antoine Applewhite and Ryan Matthews were coaching at El Cap. Nick Barnett coaches at he's the head coach at Del Norte. But now it's like we're getting to a point where a lot of the kids that I coach, couple of things. They're either the sons of the players I grew up watching as a kid, or they don't know about these guys in the NFL. They know them as so-and-so's dad. I had a kid a couple of years ago. He's now a senior on my team. He didn't know who Antonio Cromartie was. He knew his son. He's like, oh, you mean so-and-so's dad? And I'm like, you know he played in the National Football League, right? He's like, oh, he did? I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah, of course he knew his son. He's got about 30 of them.
Well, his oldest plays at Mater Dei. Mater Dei Catholic down in Chula Vista.
My Mater Dei.
Your Mater Dei, yeah.
My area is Mater Dei.
Speaking of Mater Dei, we have now, Cathedral is going to play both Mater Deis back-to-back. Mater Dei Santa Ana will come to Cathedral to play a scrimmage before week 1. Week 1 will be Cathedral versus Mater Dei Chula Vista, and what they're going to call the Charity Bowl, which used to be called which was what Saints and Cathedral rivalry used to be called before the PPR changed the name because they didn't know what the name was. Yes, I will call it the PPR for that. I know a lot of people there. But it was always called the Charity Bowl, and then Paul Rudy changed it to the Holy Bowl, which nobody called it that, and now that's what it is. But we don't play that game anymore because Saints doesn't want to play Cathedral in football anymore, which is also equally lame and also embarrassing. But that's another topic for another day. I mean, it's got to be embarrassing to be a Saints alumni knowing that you're not playing Cathedral in football. That's embarrassing. Anyway, enough of that stuff. When we come back, we'll get you a quick preview of Padres and the city of, what did you call this? The city of what? I'm going to let you say it.
As a New Yorker, I say this with pride. The city of unbrotherly scum.
We'll get Frank's real thoughts about Philadelphia when we come back to finish up the Braden Surprenant show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are so sorry that the Braden Surprenant show comes to an end at the end of this segment. We've had a fun time hanging out with all of y'all today, filling in for Ben and Woods. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. And we love the fact that we get to enjoy our time with you. It's been a fun time so far on the Braden Surprenant show. We will be on for Ben and Woods for the rest of the week up until Thursday. Everybody's off for Friday for the 4th of July and the 4th of July holiday. When we are not filling in, we are usually on from 10 to 2, as it says on the graphic below you, if you're watching on YouTube. Gwen and Chris are coming up next. I know, it's out of the usual. Everybody got bumped up a spot. Ben, Woods, Paul, all in Philadelphia on vacation, are going to watch the Padres try to take down the Phillies for the next couple of days. We're going to get you a preview on that. But I do want to mention, before we get to traffic, I do want to mention something. We were talking about a lot of these, all of these players for the Chargers that I grew up watching, now coaching high school football, or have kids now that are old enough for me to coach at the high school level. And you look at that from a perspective of like, man, I feel old. But I also mentioned the fact that a lot of these kids that I coach have no idea who these players are. Like, people always throw that out there on West Coast kids and why they're not going to USC anymore as compared to other teams. And my response every time was, when USC was dominating for most of the time, none of these kids that are in high school, at least for the last couple of years, were even alive. These kids were not alive to see Reggie Bush play at USC. So, like, USC to them is just the USC that has been mediocre for the last half decade. This happened literally at the same time I was talking about on air. It's so funny. So I work out at Fitness Quest 10, and they have a lot, like, their biggest athletes that they had there for a long time were LaDainian Tomlinson and Drew Brees. Darren Sproles used to work out there. That's why I mentioned it before. There's been a lot of great athletes to work out at Fitness Quest 10. Right now, Brett Rippon, who we've had on our show, on the Braden Surprenant show, works out there. Jordan Love, when he's in town, because his fiance plays for the Mojo, he works out there. And you look at some of the other players that they've had. I mean, they had, Rashid Shaheed, San Diego product. He's working out there right now. But Drew Brees still works out there because he lives here in San Diego. Today, Ohio State quarterback Julian Sain, who came from Carlsbad, went to Carlsbad High School, is working out there today with, I think, Brett Rippon and Drew Brees and some of those guys. So this is what happened today. So Julian Sain's there. He plays at Ohio State with the Carlsbad High School. Drew Brees is there, Brett Rippon, and all that stuff. They're doing a kids camp, right? Like you do summer camps all the time. A lot of kids are signed up for summer camps right now. I think a lot of you might have just dropped your kid off at a summer camp on your way to work. And so Fitness Quest 10 does a summer camp too. And there's a kid there today. He walks in with a Texas Longhorn shirt on. The kid, he's got to be like 12 years old. He immediately notices Julian Sain. He knows who Julian Sain is. Julian Sain he's played a couple of snaps, not too many snaps at Ohio State. Knows who Julian Sain is. Has no flipping clue who Drew Brees is. So funny. Kid's like asking him for an autograph and everything like that. Hey, Julian, you want to sign my shirt? Can I take a picture with you? You want your picture taken with Drew Brees? I don't know who that is. What? Excuse me? Crazy. It's crazy. Sometimes I have to like ask a lot of the players that, the Gen, I don't even think it's Gen Z anymore. Is it Gen Alpha? I don't even know. But some of the kids that I coach now, like they don't, they play football. They don't really watch the game. I like almost have to make them watch football. Go watch some of the old highlights, man. One of our kids that plays linebacker was doing a football drill and a pursuit drill. He was the rabbit in the pursuit drill for a thing. So they called him Toby Gerhardt. He's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Look him up, dude. Just look him up. Just look him up."
Should be a prerequisite to play some of these sports is that you know some of the people that used to play said sport.
The funny thing is, though, it's like that kid that I mentioned, his dad played in the NFL for 10, 12 years. He's the son of an NFL player. I was like, look up Toby Gerhardt. I know he didn't play in the NFL, but whatever. It's just like, hey, come on. Know some sort of the history, please. Know some sort of the history. I know the history about Padres and Phillies. It doesn't look good for the Padres. We're going to break down Game 1 and preview the series a little bit, but first, let's take a look at traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicki Pepper.
This report brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive-through oil change. Pretty quiet on our San Diego freeways at the moment. However, still got some delays on the 76 West due to emergency work at Mission Avenue. Your average speed from Douglas Drive is about 10 miles an hour. San Diego summers mean beach days, road trips, ball games. Make sure your ride's ready with Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Drive in, stay in your car, and be done in about 15 minutes. No appointment needed. For coupons, visit SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Vicki Pepper with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Braden Surprenant, Frank Marchese filling in for Ben and Woods for the rest of the week. They are in Philadelphia for Padres and Phillies. The Phillies, according to Adam Paul in the chat, now I do believe Adam Paul in the chat, he is a almanac. Phillies are 152 and 109 all time against the Padres at home. I totally believe it. I can't remember a time that the Padres went into Philly and did well. I don't think if they've ever done well there. And I don't care how bad the Phillies have been playing. I don't care that the Pirates swept the Phillies a couple of weeks ago. I've never seen the Padres do well in Philadelphia. But there's somebody that might hate Philadelphia even more than us. And that is Mr. Met himself, Frank Marchese. What did you call Philly? And he wrote it on a sheet. Padres head to the city of what?
Unbrotherly scum.
Unbrotherly scum. Have you ever been to Philadelphia?
No, and I don't plan on wasting my time. Much the same way I don't like wasting my time in New Jersey.
Anti-New Jersey now, too.
Well, it's anyone who's ever been to New Jersey is anti-New Jersey.
There's some nicer parts of New Jersey that actually look like the Garden State.
I'm sure it's in somebody's garden, too.
We like Joe in New Jersey.
We do like Joe in New Jersey.
Joe in New Jersey is probably going to the Phillies-Padres games.
He needs to call in.
I hope he raises some hell in the stands
with
the Philly fans.
Well, if he wants to get out alive, I don't know.
He will. He does it with the Yankees fans.
Okay. Yankee fans never booed Santa Claus.
They've never they've never had the opportunity. I'll take Joe in New Jersey wearing a Tony Gwynn jersey in any stadium to get out of there alive.
Brandon, we're not taking your calls next week. Sorry, but
oh man,
you just did.
That's a foul, dude. That's an unnecessary foul.
He draws the foul.
That is called chat. Just so you know, your fouls are accumulative, so it's not like one person gets a foul because we'd never keep up with that. Chat's on 2 fouls today.
Chat's got 2 fouls. Then we shoot free throws. How many we got? You got 3 personal, which means we got 4 team fouls.
I got 2.
Or do you have 2?
I do have 2.
I thought we gave you a 3rd.
No, like I said, the middle one, because I've hit that thing 5 times. 2 for fouls on me, 2 for fouls on there, and 2 for fouls on the chat, and then 1 in the middle.
Foul
because you wanted to hear it again.
Chat's got 2 fouls. I think the chat's going to send Brandon to the bench a little bit.
Does fouling out turn the comments off?
It might, Brandon.
I hope so.
If you foul out in the chat, if you are the one that commits the 5th foul, you get banned.
Sushi Sam in the chat. Let me make 3 real quick.
Oh no, let's not do it. Sam can get under her skin sometimes. Just bang, hit the foul. You don't want to be the guy that makes the 5th foul. Otherwise, you're in some serious trouble. So if you guys got 4 fouls as a chat, you got to be extra cautious in there. Otherwise, just bang, out of here. All right, let's go back to the city of unbrotherly scum.
Really quick, if chat fouls out, we got to get the AT&T commercial back.
Oh, maybe that's it.
If chat fouls out, they get the AT&T commercial.
They have to listen to it. That's good. That's great.
Back to the
Brandon's
city.
getting crushed right now in the chats. Poor guy. He's got quick 2 fouls. Send him to the bench. Let's move on. All right, back to the city of unbrotherly scum. Have Ben and Woods consumed a cheesesteak yet?
I don't know.
Have they been posting that? I saw that they went to the Liberty Bell, and
I heard they had an insider. Have you heard about this? Have you read about this?
No.
So apparently the rumor is that the best cheesesteaks are not like in the touristy spots or not even in like the secret areas of Philadelphia, like the local areas of Philadelphia.
This is breaking news to you?
It's apparently in the visiting clubhouse.
I heard that was actually some of the best.
Yes. So allegedly, Ben and Woods have a mole that will get them clubhouse cheesesteaks.
I mean, was it like Tyler Wade or something like that?
No, I have no idea. They would not say who did it. They would not say who agreed.
Are they going to try to take down the record? What is the record?
I don't know. It's
That's
probably something that Joey Chestnut has, to be honest.
No, the clubhouse record.
Oh, the clubhouse record?
Yeah, I think it's like the Rockies like strength and conditioning coach had like 24 of those or something like that.
Good night, Irene.
That's during the whole series though. Like you have to do it during a 4-game series.
It's only 3.
Phillies, yeah, so you can't cheesesteak record. I'm pretty sure the Rockies like whatever. Philly cheesesteak record for one person during a single series at Citizens Bank Park is 25 cheesesteaks.
Good night,
It was
Irene.
Rockies physical performance coach Mike Jasperson during a 4-game series. He ate these over the course of 96 hours, setting a new record. The previous record was 23 cheesesteaks.
Boy, what a physical coach, huh?
But the thing is, it's like you have to be like you have to be like the strength coach. That's a guy that probably already consumes a lot of calories. That's a guy that can be eating them during the time frame. There's certain time frames you can eat the cheesesteaks. Like you can't eat them during the game. They're like before and after like certain times where he could like down a lot of them. And it has to be like a 4-game series. How many cheesesteaks? Well, you couldn't take down a lot anymore.
No, I could not.
Let's say in your heyday, how many cheesesteaks, like when you were
It depends. How big are they?
They're like normal sized cheesesteaks. You've never been to Philly, but
no,
they're like
a sick.
Yeah, like you ever been to Gaglione Brothers?
Yeah. All right.
It's like a normal size like a 12-inch Gaglione Brothers cheesesteak. How many of those do you think you could take down in a 3-game series?
In a 3-game series, not 25. I'll tell you that.
Well, I know that you would be the record.
I would say
setter.
probably 6 or 7. Honestly.
Without getting sick of eating a cheesesteak?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
6 or 7 in 3 days?
Yeah, it's 2 a day. Plus an extra one. It's 1 for lunch, 1 for dinner.
You could have 2. Like I could probably down 2 if I wanted to in a lunch, right?
Okay.
Again, if I'm not playing and I don't have to run around with cheesesteaks in my system, I think I could probably get 9 close to 10 in a 3-game series. I think I could do 2 before the game, 1 after, 2 before, 1 after, 2 and 2 on the last day. Just eating the cheesesteaks, though. I'm not eating anything on the side. Just eating the cheesesteaks. I think I could get 10.
That's, yeah, not bad.
I still don't think it's very good, but
No.
It's not. I mean, that'd be not the worst. Are we usually supposed to be starting our show at this time?
Yeah.
What are we going to do the rest of the day? We'll tell you when we come
Take a
back
nap.
tomorrow at 6 in the morning. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. Gwen and Chris coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Goodbye.